Obviously, I'm not an expert and I'm all about skepticism. I don't have any answers for you guys. Just stay safe, wash your hands, do the regular things that you need to do to make sure that this doesn't happen inside of your house, or at least try and help it. So today we're going to be going over a big issue within the realms of talking to theists and talking to atheists, having these fruitful conversations. And that is a 5-letter word called that I can be wrong. If you have faith in something, for example, a God belief, and you know that your God exists 100%, that means that your faith could not lead you down the wrong path. And I'll actually get into that a little bit later. When it comes to the trust and confidence part, just use trust and confidence. Don't say I have faith and that's equivalent to trust and confidence. We already have words that mean certain things. Don't add this extra word that doesn't mean anything when it comes to comparing it to trust and confidence. Another definition of faith comes straight out of the Bible. And this is the one that I like to use because most of the people that I talk to say that the Bible is the true word of God. It's the authoritative word of God. Hebrews 11:1 states that faith, and this is two different parts in the same exact sentence. It states that faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So let's focus on that first one, the substance of things hoped for. So I have no problem with hope. I hope for a lot of things. Hope is basically a confidence level or a type of optimism for things panning out the way that you want them to be. I hope that I keep my job. I hope that my kids stay healthy. That hope is perfectly fine. We're not boiling it down to an absolute certainty. By hoping something, I'm not saying that I know my kids are going to be fine. They may not be. They may get sick. They may, my son goes to a daycare all week long, and he may come home with some nasty bacteria that some other kids brought to the daycare. I don't know, but I can always hope that they are healthy. So the substance of things hoped for, that could be taken so many different ways. So substance of things hoped for, I see as, the hope of hope. It doesn't make much sense to me. And a lot of times when I talk to believers, like I said, most of the time, since I'm living in, America, the most predominant faith that I come across is Christianity. So when I say, what is faith? And they go to Hebrews 11:1, I got a series of questions that I need to ask them, just to make sure that we have clarity. If we don't have clarity, then we're going to start talking past each other. And a lot of people think that interrupting is bad. Interrupting is rude. You shouldn't do that. In a lot of cases, it is rude. But in some cases, if you're trying to get down to understanding and being on the same page as the person that you're talking to, there's really no problem with interruption. If you're trying to have them define terms that they haven't defined yet, or if you're just trying to make sure you're on the same page so you guys can continue the conversation without being, 15 pages apart from each other, that is fine. Because at the end of it, if you don't get clarity, then you're going to go right back to square one. And the conversation really means nothing at that point. So back to Hebrews 11:1. Substance of things hoped for, that's one thing. And then the evidence of things not seen. So that means that if faith is the evidence, that means that they are apart from actual empirical evidence. If I have evidence for something, I don't need faith. I can just produce the evidence. So how do I define faith? I define faith like my favorite atheist. I define faith as gullibility. I define faith as believing in something that you have no good reason for, or good reason to believe. If I have faith in this chair, and you're going to use that as the trust and confidence, then that means that this chair cannot fall. This chair cannot break. I have trust and confidence in this chair due to evidence. And that evidence is me sitting down in this same chair multiple times in my past and it not falling over. Now, that doesn't mean that the next time I sit in it, it's not going to fall over. But it's shown me its durability. I have evidence. I have personal experiences. And every single personal experience that you ever have is evidence of some sort. It could be anecdotal evidence, but it is evidence of some sort. So every time I sit in this chair, it doesn't fall over. It feels sturdy. It's held me in here for hours upon hours at a time. I have evidence to provide a reasoning for having trust and confidence in this chair. Faith is not like that. If faith is the evidence of things not seen, if it's not seen, that's, in other words, in my interpretation, a lack of evidence. If you don't have any real evidence, let's chalk it up to faith and take it by faith. So what if I'm a Muslim and I say, I know that Allah exists and I take that on faith? Or if I'm a Mormon and I say Joseph Smith did what he did and everything in the Book of Mormon is correct, true, and authoritative, that means that I can take that on faith. And then that provides my absolute certainty and provides my reasoning for believing in what I believe. Well, they can't all three be right. Christianity, Islam, and Mormonism. They can't all be correct, but they can all be incorrect. Since they are monotheistic religions, if they all take it by faith, that means 2/3 of what I just mentioned are incorrect. Now, does that seem like a reliable pathway to truth? It is not. If 2/3 can be wrong, if 1 out of 100 can be wrong, it is not a reliable pathway to truth. That's the issue that I have with faith to begin with. Now, a lot of times people will say, oh, well, you just take that on blind faith. And then the believer will say, no. My faith is backed by evidence. Okay, cool. So you have a belief. That belief is bolstered by faith. And that faith is based by evidence. So in turn, you're saying your belief is based on evidence. So provide the evidence. We can throw faith out of here right now. If faith is just the middleman tying the belief to the evidence, we don't need faith. Throw it out. That's the issue that I have if you're using it as the evidence of things not seen. Now, like I said before, anybody can use faith for anything. I could say I am superior to black people because I'm white. And I take that on faith. Now, just because I have faith in that, does that mean that I'm correct? No, it does not. Because now we need to get into different situations. Are we talking about how fast I am? If I was to get into a foot race, which I can guarantee you right now, I probably wouldn't win, depending on the person. If you look at the Olympics, a lot of our fastest runners, the fastest, I think his name's Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt, he is the fastest runner in the world. He's black. If I was to say that I am the greatest human in the world, point blank, better than any other human, that is a positive claim that I would need to bring evidence for. But if I just say I take it on faith, then you can't do anything about it. But I'm also exhibiting how I am leaving reason, how I'm not using reason within this realm of my life. Because if I just take it on faith, that means that you can't falsify it because you don't know my faith. And it just gets into this big muddy rabbit hole that we go down to where it's unnecessary. It's unneeded. A lot of times I'll come across to where I've used this whole argument and I've brought it down to them being unreasonable. I've brought it down to, having faith in anything. You could literally take faith on any proposition you could ever think of. and that doesn't mean that it's actually true. Then I get, well, you have faith too. No, you have faith too. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that you're saying that you're unreasonable, but I'm unreasonable too? That's an admittance that you have absolutely left reason. That's an admittance that your belief system or your foundation for your belief isn't holding itself up. It is just playing this childish game of I'm bad, well, you're bad too. Or I'm unreasonable and so are you. And let's just say we get to the bottom of it all and they're not willing to part from faith. That's fine. You can have faith in whatever you want to, but if it comes down to a God belief, that faith does not describe what kind of God you're providing this faith for. You will have to presuppose whatever God that you currently believe in and presuppose his existence to be able to say you have faith in this God. It's unreasonable. It doesn't lead you to truth. It's not a reliable pathway to finding out what's actually true. And if the person that you're talking to is not worried about that and they just want to have faith because they want to have faith, because they want to believe in what they want to believe in, a lot of people sometimes say that, the conversation's over with. And a lot of times I will agree. The conversation is pretty much over with. Try and plant the seed, though. Try and at least get them thinking about it. Ask them, would you like to have a conversation at a later date? And maybe revisit this. Psychologically speaking, for somebody to remember something, it takes about 3 times for you to say it for them to actually latch onto it. So try and plant that seed. Try and at least get them to think about it. You're not going to convert somebody on the first day or the first conversation. That's not how this works. This is a very long and drawn out process of them being indoctrinated into a belief or spend a lot of time listening to somebody tell them how true these things really are. It wasn't an overnight thing that they started believing, which means that it's not going to be an overnight thing trying to deconvert. Maybe you're not trying to deconvert. Maybe you're just trying to have a good conversation. You're not going to get them to reason on the first day. So my only advice is to keep asking these questions, keep asking them and providing them these situations to where faith works against what they believe. And if they are using the same argument for their belief and the way that they're using faith, and you keep bringing up all these other situations to where other proclamations of faith are in contradiction with their own, they could eventually see the difference or the mistake that they're making. I hope this bit of information can help you out when it comes to having a conversation with somebody and they bring it down to faith. They bring the conversation or their belief to, you have to take it on faith. It happens a lot. It typically, almost every single time you have a conversation, boils down to faith at some point in time, depending on how you break the situation down. So I really hope this information was good for you guys. If you have any ways of doing it yourself that you've found successful, please bring it to the table. Let me know. Shoot me a message on SoundCloud. Put a comment in there, something like that with somehow get in touch with me so I can possibly bring it up in a later episode. So that kind of wraps it up when it comes to what I have to say about faith. We can get into it in a conversation that I may have or an interview I may have later in these episodes that I may be putting out. Just want to plug it in here. I am going to be on a different podcast, not a different one, another one other than this one. This one's strictly for just basically talking to atheists about how they can have better conversations with theists. I'm actually going to be on a podcast with one of my good friends who is a Christian apologist, and it's going to be called The Battle for Truth. He's kind of in charge of putting it out there on the media platforms, but I think he said it's going to be on every single large platform when that comes to like iTunes, Spotify, the whole works. This one right here is on SoundCloud, and I'm working on getting it kind of bolstered out towards all the mainstream, the rest of the mainstream media platforms. But we're going to be doing a podcast to where it's going to be us having a conversation with each other, that you can see all of my arguments in action. You can see the way that I'm using them. You can see in which ways that I bring them up at certain times, and maybe it can help. Maybe it can just entertain you, but at the same time, maybe you can try and take some of these arguments and use them in your own life. Other than that, I appreciate you guys for listening. Like I said, sorry I I didn't have an episode for a long time, but I will definitely keep up the hard work and try and get some more content for you guys to listen to. I really appreciate you guys listening, and I will see you next time.
Thank you very much. That was beautiful. I agree. The Muslims, the Mormons, the Christians, you name it. No evidence, no religion, no nothing. I agree with you there. There's no ways you can, without evidence, you're fucked. Faith doesn't count. Faith doesn't cut it. I agree with you on that one. So, as empathetic atheist, you got your head screwed on right. Let's leave you as an empathetic atheist, because that's where you made sense. Okay, that 20 minutes was 20 minutes of rational thought. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to just have a look and see what's next. Oh, oh yes, James Henry, psychopath. Now, James Henry, he's been on several of my live streams. And he's not quite all hinged. He tries to be charming. Certainly is around women, I think. But he is very vicious. He's very vengeful. He's classically narcissist. Okay. He gets his rocks. He gets his rocks off by humiliating other people, by insulting other people, by dehumanizing other people, by kicking other people when they're down. This guy, James Henry, is a piece of work, I tell you. So, what I got here, if I can find them, is let's do the clip of James Henry. Yeah, let's do the James Henry. Guy's a crazy man. So let him start, and I'll see what I can do with him afterwards. Oh, just let him start. What the hell?
I have, and I met them in jail.
I've never been... Right, now that's the first thing this guy does. Every time he comes online, he brags about the fact that he's been to jail. And I can tell you, after listening to the story umpteen times, that he's been to jail. He's been to jail in Morocco. He was jailed for being caught with hashish. And he doesn't feel any... Sorry, I lost my shoe there. He doesn't feel any... He's not... he doesn't feel any... He doesn't have any empathy. He doesn't have any feelings. He doesn't have any... He's a psychopath. doesn't have any. He's antisocial, so he doesn't have any warm feelings. Okay, but he loves to brag about how tough he is and how big and smart and street smart and you know how strong and how lethal, and it just goes on and on and on, and it's just really it's sickening. But in this segment, he unravels himself. I take him to the edge. He unravels himself, he loses it, and he reveals himself. He exposes himself. So listen up. It's jail.
I've been to jail because I was caught with hashish
I know you're a
in
criminal.
an Arab country, and I got sentenced to
Well,
jail.
that just shows you're not very forward thinking. You know, you're not very.
Why?
Well, I
I took
mean,
the risk, and I got caught. What else is there to say? You know, I got
no, but
caught.
to go and transport hashish or do whatever the fuck in Morocco?
No,
are
I
you
wasn't transporting it. It was caught on my person.
exactly?
When I was in that country moving around.
Exactly. Don't do that in a country like Morocco where you die if you get caught with it. No problem,
I'm
Randolph.
still here. I'm still alive. You know what I'm saying?
You survive, but
Well,
poor little
the
me,
point I was
poor
trying to
little
make
me
is
would have
I've met
perished
men
in there.
prison.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, look, whether God saved me or I saved me, I don't know. I survived. But what I do know is I won't do it again.
See, now all of a sudden, God comes into the situation. He calls himself an atheist, but okay, God, there's a God now. So James Henry, you're fake ass. You're a fake ass.
Yeah.
Well, you're too fucking old now.
It's not about old. It's not
Oh,
about-
another thing. This guy says he's, he understands sarcasm, and he understands sense of humor, and he's got a sense of humor, and he can laugh with the best of them. This guy's a grumpy cunt. Listen up.
about old, because like I'm on the line of being nice and being the worst person that I can be, and in prison
There
I
goes
became
prison.
the worst person I could be. I did terrible things. You know what I'm saying?
To survive, or just because you just wanted to be an asshole?
You survived because we weren't given food. Your family had to send you food.
Jeez.
So everybody in the prison had a knife, which was so-called used for cooking.
Mm.
Was this prison in Morocco?
Yes.
Were you cooking people?
No.
Well, then it wasn't that bad.
I guarantee you,
Cooking
Sidney, you
cockroaches.
would not last there 3 days. So I wouldn't talk if I were you.
Let me tell you something. I wouldn't be. Okay, so now he's starting to brag about how I wouldn't last in prison for 3 days. As if I would want to go to a fucking prison in Morocco. As if I'd be stupid enough to go to Morocco and carry hashish around with me and then get caught with it. After all that, I'd get caught with it. I mean, really. Do you really think I'm as stupid as you are, James Henry? You the dumbest fuck I've ever come across in my whole life up to now. And it's been a very, very, very long life. But come on, let's hear you continually embarrass yourself. Go ahead. So stupid as to be caught with hashish in Morocco.
It's not a question of being
Exactly.
stupid.
And I'll tell you
saying
another
it's
thing.
Bad. You saying it's not that bad when you've never been there. Sydney, talk
Listen,
about
I'll
what
tell you.
know
I'll
and
tell you
don't
another. Look how he cries. Oh, he's gonna cry. Sidney, I've been this and I've been that, and you've not been anywhere, and you don't know. You've never been to jail. You've never broken the law. You've never been a bad egg. You've never committed a crime. You've never beat somebody up so bad that they deformed. You've never done anything like that, and I have. So you got no. You. How can you talk? You have no experience in life. This guy's nuts. Other
about
thing,
what you think
I
about.
wouldn't be in an Arab country. Period.
Exactly. I wouldn't be in an Arab country,
I
period.
did what I did.
Exactly. So this guy is such a fucking idiot. He goes to an Arab country where there's no personal freedoms.
and then he breaks one of the harshest laws of an Arab country, which is drugs of any kind. And he goes and he gets caught with hashish. He gets sentenced to jail, and he's proud of it because, you know, he thinks he's a big tough guy, even up until today. Meantime, today, he's a keyboard warrior, an old graying croc, like me. But he's a keyboard warrior and a coward. If you want to say something to me, James Henry, go throw up a video. Go live stream. Go on somebody else's video or channel if they're willing to host you, and go cry about your life. Go on.
And I got caught, and I accepted my punishment, and I
You're so stupid, you got caught.
tried to take my punishment like a man.
You challenged me, and I answered you don't like it. Too bad.
Exactly.
Sidney, you didn't challenge me in anything. All you're making is just incoherent.
Okay, this is where he starts just gobbledygooking his way through because he wants to hear his own voice. Listen to him. Insults and accusations that have absolutely no bearing on anything. Nothing.
Sounds, and I don't know why you're doing it, because I'm thinking
I said to him he likes to hear his own voice, and now he's telling me that I like to hear my own voice. He's not very unique. He doesn't come up with anything. He's very projection. There's a lot of projection from this man, this angry man. So a lot of what he says to me is what he actually is himself.
maybe you like to listen to the sound of your own voice.
See, like that. He likes to listen to the sound of his own voice, so he projects that onto me.
I'm thinking the same about you. Do you like your own voice?
Not really, no.
Then why is it
I
always
don't think
emanating?
anyone does. Yeah.
What? Why the what?
Why is it always emanating from you?
He can't.
Why do you always, if you find it so bad, why do you always invite me into the stream to listen to what I have to say? You could always block me, you could remove me, but obviously you don't. So
you have no idea about self.
You see what a you can always remove me. You can always remove me. See, that's what a little sissy is. You can always remove me. I allow him into my lair with all respect, and he comes in and he says, "Oh, you can always remove me if you don't like it." See, he's like a little baby, big tough guy behind the keyboard, but he's really a little fucking baby.
Chasm.
I understand sarcasm pretty well.
I know you. then
Fully
why?
well.
Then why did you go to remove me? If you want to remove
Exactly. He doesn't have a clue.
me, you can remove
No,
me.
what I'm saying is, you say, why should I listen to you, or why you should listen to me? You could always remove me or stop communicating with me, and your problem.
Yeah, but you could always leave. If you get so fucking angry, you could leave. And I'm watching the chat right now, and Justin, E.A. Dawa's in there. E.A. Dawa, I just want to say to you, you're done. You're done. You're irrelevant now. You've got two sides of your face. One side speaks the way for 20 minutes, what we just listened to, and the other side of your face speaks for days and days and days. You parroting what other people have told you, because you don't have a clue what you're talking about when it comes to your delusion. Okay, you've been brainwashed. You've been indoctrinated, and I get it. But that's a sign of weakness. Okay. I don't know why your mental state is declining, because you went from a state of lucidity. We listened to you for 20 minutes explaining how faith is ridiculous, how religions make no sense, and how they should be questioned always, to you now being kind of nothing. So there you go. Nothing.
Will be solved. I won't lose a minute's sleep on it, and you won't either. So what's the big deal?
Look. I don't know if you heard it, but earlier I said, and I made it very, very clear, that Satan is the one true devil, and Sidney Winston is his messenger.
Exactly.
We all accept that.
You see how confused he gets?
I don't admit that.
Okay, now this is where he thinks, okay, now what's going on? I don't understand. I like sarcasm, but I don't get sarcasm. Or I tell everybody I get sarcasm, but I don't really.
I don't accept that.
I don't accept that.
It's by definition.
I don't believe Satan exists, so you can't be.
No.
It's by definition.
Yes.
No, but Satan would.
By definition, James. By definition, Justin, whatever. By definition, Satan is the one true devil, and Sidney, Winston, is his messenger. Okay? That's by definition.
Still have to exist, and I don't accept that, so I refute that.
Well, Satan has to exist because evil exists.
So what does evil have to do with Satan?
Yeah,
well, Satan is the good that confronts evil, which is the evil is the God, the creator God, the Christian God.
Yes.
That's evil.
Yes.
Then you got Satan, which is the force of good, and
preach it, Sidney. Preach it.
The way I can best show you this is by taking the satanic rules of the earth, there's 11 of them,
Yes.
and then comparing them to the 10 commandments of Christianity,
Yes.
and seeing which is better for a harmonious humanity to live under.
Yes. We should do that.
But you granted that Christianity is true. Why is it not Buddhism or Hinduism or one of the other religions?
Exactly.
They don't have laws that are anti-humanist,
But
like Christianity does.
Exactly.
Yeah, but you're saying that Satan has to exist, but you're granting Christianity way too much than it deserves. If Christianity isn't true, then Satan doesn't exist.
Correct.
Yeah,
You know what confuses me? You know, I've never asked myself this question: why am I here, and what is my?
Okay, this is where the stupidity stomps on this guy's brain for some reason.
Purpose in life. I don't have time for that shit. I don't care about that shit. I don't care about God. I don't care about devil.
Right,
They're not here. I don't
right.
see them niggers. I don't see them anywhere. They do nothing for me. You know,
Right.
I'm worried about the here and the now, where I am.
It's an incoherent question because there's no set purpose. Your purpose is what you cut out for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. You may.
Yeah, but what the point I'm trying to make is, I am not secretly a prince. I don't have a deeper purpose. I don't have a deeper meaning. I don't have a deeper.
Like he's special. He's very special because he's like everybody else. It makes absolutely no sense. The guy is cuckoo.
That's because if I had to assume that, that's fucking arrogant. Why me and not the rest of the
You
5
are
billion
arrogant.
other people in the world?
Absolutely, I agree with you.
I care about me. I care about my autonomy. The power that I want is the power and the freedom for me to choose what I choose to choose. The power that I want
what?
has no bearing on people around me. I don't want to impose my power on anyone else.
To choose what to choose. Is that what you said?
The power means the freedom to choose.
This is not at all viciously circular.
Choose. Power means choice.
No, it doesn't.
Bullshit.
Yes, it does.
No. Oh yeah. Then
Of
how
course it does.
come you absolutely failed when I gave you a choice? Kill the Catholic or kill the Protestant? You absolutely
Because that's a choice. That's a choice that
exactly.
has absolute.
But it's still a choice.
That's a choice. That's a choice that has absolutely no benefit to me. So why would I do it?
It's still a choice.
Why would you do it? Because it's a thought experiment. We were just playing a thought game. You see, you're a coward. You're not prepared to take a stance. You're not prepared to stand up for anything at all. You're a weak, spineless jellyfish. James Henry. James Henry. James Henry. Spineless jellyfish.
I told you. Yes, it
You know,
has.
why
bene-
would- if
it
it's not
does.
benefiting
Okay.
me-
Yes, it does have benefit to you because if you
So
kill,
what
if
is
you
the
kill,
benefit to
the
me?
benefit is that you.
Here was this was the thing. Okay. How much do you how much do you your own life, how much is it worth? Anything at all to live, or do you have boundaries? Will you die for things? Okay, so I posed this question. Okay, now, firstly, as a control, I would choose one of the options. There's three options, okay, in this thought experiment, okay? You're either going to die, either they're going to kill you, or you have an out. You have a knife, I mean, you have a sword or a whatever weapon, and you have a choice. You can either kill a Catholic or a Protestant. If you kill either one, you go free, and your day is done, and you can go whistling. No problem. So this is what I posed to James, or to anybody, whatever, right? What would you do? Who would you... Your third option, of course, is not to kill anybody, and then they kill you. So you've made your choice. But this guy, James Henry, wouldn't even play the game. He wouldn't even... He started going off. Listen to how he slips out of reality.
You don't die. You kill a Catholic or a Protestant, one of them, and then you yourself don't die.
That's the rule.
That's your benefit.
There you go.
I don't want that benefit. So what? I can live longer and experience more of...
No, you see, now he goes and he embellishes. All I said was you go free. That's it. You go free. You don't die, you go free. So now he embellishes, live longer, like forever, eternity, blah 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 blah. He starts to just add shit in.
You go free. You go free.
World?
You just go free. You go free.
No, man. Look, at the end of the day,
you take out a Catholic or a Protestant, one of your
Look,
choosing,
I'm not scared of dying.
He's not scared of dying. So why did you just say, I'll choose none of them and they'll kill me? That's it. Why do you just say, why are you prevaricating and arming and erming and erring and la la la?
Dying is the way of things. I'm not scared about that.
I'm certainly not suggesting that you go down the road of...
See, dying is the third choice. If he wants to make the third choice, then make a third choice, no problem. But to make excuses like this,
thinking about dying,
he's like a little child.
No, but whether I go down that road or not, it's something that is going to happen. The only thing is I don't know when, but it's going to happen, and I'm good with that.
See, he's like walking. He goes on a tangent somewhere else. I'm trying to give this thought experiment to him to understand and get an answer from him. It's, I'll kill a Catholic, I'll kill a Protestant, I won't kill either. That's it. That's simple. If you ask me, I will kill one of them. Which one of them is what I will make a Khalilullah, I'll try, okay? I'll just Khalil. What Khalil says is an internal critique. He loves to use internal critique a lot, right? As if it means something. Internal critique. So when I make my internal critique decision as to which I'm going to kill, the Christian or the Protestant, see, kind of ridiculous, stupid. I just want to call you out on that one, Khalil, on your internal critique thing. It's nonsense.
Dying is the way of things.
Everybody knows that for themselves, and everybody has to be good with that. Otherwise, we'd all be running around screaming.
Yeah, but why would I worry about the inevitable?
You see, it's a it's a simple question. If you were in a position where your life was at risk, and the only way to save your life was you had to murder one or the other, and the one is a Protestant and the other is a Catholic, you got to choose which one. You kill one of them and you go free. Which one would you kill, the Catholic or the Protestant? Simple.
No, I worry about shit that I can change, not shit. I'm going to die, whether I'm rich, poor, black,
die,
white,
die,
trans,
die.
gay. What the fuck? I'm gonna die just like the rest of
Yeah,
us.
you've said that.
And I'm good with that.
You've made
It's okay.
it quite clear to us many times that this is what your end is going to be, but it's going to be the same for everybody.
I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, I'm not worried.
But there is
I'm
an
not
end
worried.
for everybody. Everybody has an end.
There's an end, but whatever comes after that end, I don't concern myself with that.
No, it's a brick. It's a brick wall. Life.
Whatever.
And then
I don't care about, because the way I think of it, when I die, it'll be over. That's how I think.
I'm just going to say.
Okay, I'll add something else to that thought experiment. Look out for number one. He's made a very good point. You still got three choices. You still got to kill one of either a Protestant or a Catholic to save your own life. But there's nothing to stop you killing both of them. Yes, you can do that. It doesn't make your life any longer or any better. Your life is still saved at the first kill. The second kill is up to you.
Was it? I don't want to. I'm not afraid of dying. I just don't want to be there when it happens. I'm going to go there because you reminded me of a song, so I'm going to start a stream up. If either of you want.
Did you hear what he said? I'm not afraid of dying. I just don't want to be there when it happens. Very funny.
Want to join, that'd be brilliant. But I've got all of them, so I need to play this song and sing it on my channel. So
all right. See you, Waldo. Bye bye.
Thanks for letting me on. Thanks for dropping by.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Take care, man.
I don't mind dying. Whether I mind it or I want it, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Why must I be scared of the unknown?
Why are we talking about dying?
Exactly. Listen to this guy.
It's because
watch where he
you
goes.
said if I killed a Catholic, if you told me...
Just watch where he goes at the end. This is great. I love this. I'm just loving it.
I have to choose between killing a Catholic or a Protestant, and in return, I would get eternal life. I
never said that. I didn't.
See? Eternal life. Where did I say eternal life? I just said you'd go free. This guy doesn't know how to listen. He's like not very educated. Pretty dumb, actually.
Not say that at all.
What did you say?
I said, your choice is to, in order for you to live, to carry on living free for the rest of your natural days, you either got to kill a Catholic or a Protestant. With this knife that I'm giving you, you're holding it in your hand.
Look, the only time that I would consider killing someone, right, if there's a mortal threat to my life.
That is a mortal threat to your life in this thought experiment. Don't you get it, James? So, here's the deal. You are mortally threatened with losing your life if you don't kill either a Protestant or a Catholic. Okay, that's the deal. So, there you go. Now, how is that not a mortal threat?
Which there is.
I hope I won't do it, but I think I will. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well,
no, I don't know what you're saying.
But to make that decision based on whether that person is a Catholic or a Protestant, that's not relevant to me.
How are you going to choose?
It doesn't have to be relevant to you. It's relevant to the thought experiment. It's part of the thought experiment. There is no you can't disconnect one from the other.
Why would I choose?
Because that's
is my volume low?
I would choose the person. I would choose, if I had to do that, I would choose the person.
Is my volume low? Is my volume? Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So let's see if I can do something about that. If I can add some gain. Gain. See, the thing is, if I add gain like this, oh, there we go. That'll be much better. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Okay, cool. How's that, guys? Better? Ha ha ha. All right, let's listen to the shit spewing James Henry.
Person that's the most imminent and present clear danger to me.
None of
if
them.
I had to
They're just regular people. How can they be a danger to
then
you?
they would have nothing to fear from me, and if they're regular people, then
see how stupid this guy is.
They would have nothing to fear.
One of them has to die. Which one are you going to choose?
Yeah, but who says that one of them has to die? Just because you say
It's the thought experiment, dummy.
Well, it's a thought experiment that we.
No, I'm too loud.
It's a thought experiment
okay.
that begins nowhere, goes nowhere.
Too loud.
Travels through nowhere.
I could never be
It's
too
an
loud.
unanswerable question because
I'm a soft-spoken person. You see, listen to this guy dodging.
like in Dutch, you have a saying, moment bepaald.
Well, the thing.
So if you translate that, it means that you don't know what you're going to do until you're placed in that position.
Exactly.
So therefore, I can't answer that question.
Exactly, which is why you discuss it. You say, well, okay,
Yeah,
so
but I've got better things to discuss.
which
than
one
that,
would
you know?
I?
You discuss it with yourself. Like I said, you do that internal critique. Which one would I? You got no choice. You want to live. Okay, this is my choice. Is this? This is my thinking. I want to live. Do I kill the Catholic or the Protestant? I already have my answer, and I know why I would do it. But I don't want to give that out to you until we actually have another conversation, specifically in a hangout, based on this specific thought experiment.
Which one would I kill? A Catholic
Yeah, but
or
I'm not
a
interested in
Protestant?
that.
I would
interested in
I would immediately say Catholic to myself, but then I would say no. Protestants are the ones that are causing all the fucking problems.
Exactly.
In America,
Yeah, but who
with
am
all the Protestantism and Protestant. In Darth Dawkins is a Protestant. For that reason alone, I'd kill a Protestant. There you go.
There you
No.
go.
See?
See?
Very simple,
No.
James. Very, very simple.
Very simple, James. How come you so stupid that you can't figure it out?
For you, not for me. I don't take life and death that easily or that lightly.
It's not taking life. It's just a thought experiment.
Yeah, but it's that's the problem with thoughts. Thoughts
How do
lead to
you-
deeds.
That's the problem with thoughts. Thoughts lead to deeds. Have you ever heard a more profound statement in your whole life? This is, and you can quote me quoting James Henry. That's the problem with thoughts, because thoughts lead to deeds. James Henry. November 2021. Timestamp it.
Bullshit. We're all adults. I mean, every thought leads to deeds.
Sydney,
Or every deed originates as a thought.
Exactly.
Sydney, your premise assumes that everybody is capable of rational thought and capable of making rational decisions. That doesn't work like that.
Well, how do you? Who do
There's
you know
no
that-
black and white. There's no either or. Life is not black and white. Life is full of.
Dude, it's a thought experiment. You see, this is how insanely unintelligent you are. Your intellect is so low that you cannot even understand what a thought experiment is. A thought experiment is something that we do in our heads, okay? It doesn't happen in real life. It will not happen in real life, this particular thought experiment, okay? It's just a thought experiment. You're a psychopath. You, of all people, should be able to answer this.
Different shades of grey.
Have you ever heard of common sense?
Common sense, I have.
Okay, well, common sense is common to all humans, not
Yes.
not common
Yes.
to any particular.
Again, what are you
nation.
basing that on?
I'm
If
basing it
common
on
sense, if
basing
common,
it.
Common human sense, James. Human. Common sense. Get it? Everybody.
sense
on
was available.
everybody who crosses the street looks left or right or both ways.
There you go. That's common sense.
Before they cross the
if
street.
common sense was prevalent, as you
Now he's gonna try and do a Dawkins-esque type of question. Listen to the bullshit.
claim it is, then why are we living in such a fucked up world?
If common sense is as prevalent as we claim it is, then why are we living in such a fucked up world? You heard that correctly. This is James Henry, 2021.
Because a lot of people don't use common sense.
Because a lot of people don't have common sense, because you can only have common sense
is something
if
you
you're
do.
able to think rationally.
It's common
A lot of
because
people cannot think
It's
rationally.
common
They make
because
bad
you have
decisions.
it. It's common because you have it. If you don't use it,
Common means that common is not a guarantee that you have it. Common means
Yeah, he's just talking shit. Common doesn't mean that you haven't. Common
that
means
it's prevalent.
that it's prevalent. See? It doesn't get stupider than that. Human beings. No, this is the lowest of the low when it comes to intelligence and intellect. But the highest of the high when it comes to arrogance and self-centeredness and narcissism and fakery.
But it's not all encompassing.
If you've survived childhood, you have common sense.
Again, what are you basing that on?
On you've been taught to not cross the street before looking left or right.
That's exactly it. Every child grows up to be a teenager because they've been taught common sense and how to navigate through life without getting run over, without falling, without dying, and just by being negligent. You're taught to have common sense about all sorts of things: how you treat people, how you handle yourself in situations, even how you cook. It's common sense, right? This guy, for some reason or other, can't figure it out. He cannot figure out how common sense is common to everybody, although he knows it is prevalent. You see?
You've been taught this, and you've been taught that, and you've been taught the other.
What about a woman?
Oh, hold on, let me finish.
What about a woman? You see, now he's absolute misogynist. This is where his misogyny starts to shine. I had no idea that he was going to come up with the misogyny and the anti-Jew talk. Oh, it just gets ugly from now.
You've been taught common sense about pretty much everything by the time you reach adulthood. So that common sense is what I'm talking about.
Right.
Yeah, but in order for...
But. You see, there's always a but.
For me to use that common sense, I have to think rationally and logically. I'll give you an example. You have a lot of women, right, who keep on making bad decisions.
I don't like it.
I don't like it when he starts picking on women. And he's starting to pick on women because he's blatantly misogynistic. He's a blatant bigot. And it's about to shine through like neon at night.
Choosing bad men and having babies with bad men.
I don't like
and men not taking care of those children.
Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? I don't like using women as examples for anything because I find that misogynistic.
Yes.
I find that hypocritical of what you're saying.
Oh, see? You see? I find what he says misogynistic, and now somehow it's hypocritical. Oh, please do explain, James.
Okay, then present your example. Let's see.
I am talking about a specific example.
Okay,
you are the one that is attaching. You're the one that's attaching value or lack of value to that statement while I'm making. I'm not attaching any value.
No, but I'm proving your misogyny. Go ahead.
How am I misogyny? They are women. Are they not women?
Yes, they are.
Right?
Tell us.
Who are victims, who keep on getting involved with men that are bad men. They get pregnant from these.
What's it his business? These women. You see? Misogyny all the way.
Men, right? They have children by these men. And some of them have 4 or 5 children, and each from different fathers. And each father does nothing for the child. But if another guy comes with the right story and the right smile, right, she'll go to bed with him.
See, he's all about the jealousy. He's like, he can't get a woman to go to bed with him, so he disses all the women in the world who go to bed with other people, but not with him.
Does she have common sense?
How old is she?
She's a woman.
Yeah, so I mean, there's 3.5 billion women on this planet, and I can't picture one in particular that stands out.
Exactly.
As the woman you're trying to.
Because he uses women in, like, he literally is referring to 3.5 billion people when he talks about women. This is like. He's the poster boy for misogyny
today.
To the American projects, go to the American projects, and you'll see neighborhoods full of women like that.
I can't right now because number one, I'm not in America, and number two, it's dark outside.
When you go to the projects, you will see a community full of people like that.
The projects. Why the projects? Who mentioned the fucking projects? See, he just dodges. Dodges here, dodges there, dodges up, dodges down. James Henry, you're a dodger. You're not a very artful dodger. At all.
That's why it's called the projects.
I'm not sure that I know what you're talking about, but the way you talk about women as one sort of stereotype.
I was using it as an example. I'm not saying...
Example of what? First you're on about women, and now you're on about projects, and he's using it as an example, but it's got no relevance to the conversation that we're actually having.
I've never uttered a misogynistic word in my life.
A woman is a slut. Boom, in the story.
So what? Are we not allowed to talk about women anymore?
You see? He says, we're not allowed to talk about women anymore, even if they're sluts. Yeah? Let me go, those sluts. We're not allowed to talk about women anymore. We're not allowed to talk about sluts anymore.
Made a statement that women are sluts.
Sidney, I think you're getting fucking dumber by the day. You know that?
Do you not think that women are sluts anymore?
He just said, he made absolute implication that women get attracted by, handsome men, and then they go running into bed with him. What is that? What are you trying to tell me that they are? Virgins? Virgins, James? Huh?
When did I say women are sluts? And please quote me verbatim when I said that.
During your example that you were giving us.
Look, you are...
You did. You said women just jump into bed with other men. Okay? That's a slut. So don't fucking come with your, I didn't say that they're a slut. And what he's going to do, he's probably going to go on and on and on and on about that.
The problem is not me, Sidney. The problem is you. Because you are thinking and you are attaching something that I never said. And that says more about you than it does about me.
You asked me to respond.
I never used the word slut. I never used the word slut.
You don't have to use the word slut. You said women are attracted to men and they go jumping into bed with them. Now, what is a slut? I'm not quite sure what it is, but it seems to me a slut is a woman who is attracted to men and jumps into bed with them. How far wrong, how far off am I, James Henry? Please tell me.
You did.
And I hope
never brought up the word slut. You
didn't have to.
You did. So it's about the way you look at the world and not the way I look at the world.
Well,
it's you.
How did you use the word? What words did you use exactly then?
I used women not having common sense. A woman not having common sense.
A woman not having common sense and jumping into bed with every handsome man they see.
Does not equate to her being a slut.
Very, very weak. Very weak.
I don't know where you get that bridge from.
You just said she doesn't have common sense. She sleeps with anyone she comes across who's got a pretty smile.
Look,
there you go.
With everyone, that doesn't make her a slut.
You see. So let me understand here. According to James Henry, a slut is somebody who doesn't sleep with anyone. That's a slut. Somebody who sleeps with everybody is not necessarily a slut. Just get this right, okay? Let's carry on.
But is that common sense?
That's what. No, Sidney. Talking to you is fucking like having a wow.
Why do you have to bring?
See, I call him out. I got him, and he just gets stuck.
Women as one stereotype.
Why do you have to keep?
And have you noticed that I ask a question, and before my question is out, he is on the defensive already. He is. He's doing a Darth Dawkins all the way. He came on the stream at the beginning, either this one or one of the other ones. Said, I love to talk about and maul to pieces Darth Dawkins and his bullshit. And he's been exactly the same as Darth Dawkins. Man.
Keep on asking stupid, irrelevant questions so that you can hear your voice. Why do you do that?
Because I can hear my voice.
Why do you attach things? It's not only me.
Okay, so here comes the sarcasm, which he just doesn't get.
That you've done it to. You did it to Khalil as well. You attach things to people that they've never stated or said. Why do you do that? And what gives you the right to do that?
I do it so I can hear my voice, just like you said.
Exactly.
You're the one who said, you suggested I do it because so I can hear my voice, and I'm agreeing with you.
Exactly.
I do it so that I can hear my voice.
No, Sidney, you do it to fuck shit up.
Now you're disagreeing with yourself.
See?
No.
Yes. Absolutely are.
He's not even worth wasting time on. But this is funny. I got to get this off my chest. It's hilarious.
You said to me, I talk.
Sidney, all you're doing is you're using a lot of words to say nothing.
Notice again, he doesn't let me stop talking. He doesn't let me finish. What is the point of talking to people like this? See if he lets me finish one sentence.
You're saying nothing of value to anyone, anywhere, at any time. And yet you still choose to say it. So I don't know for whose benefit you say it.
How is telling us how women have no common sense by sleeping around?
You see, you
see, there he goes. There he goes. He interrupts me again. That's how fake this guy is.
How is that of
so
any
you know what that makes you, Sidney? You know what that makes you?
How is that of any value?
There's nothing lower than a liar like you are. You're a liar.
How is that of any value?
No, you're a liar. That's it. I'm saying it to you directly. You are a liar. You're a fucking liar.
Tell me how you really feel.
That's it.
Okay, are you finished now?
I'm pretty much thinking of leaving the stream, yeah. So, yeah, there's that.
Okay. But your little rant, are you over with that at least?
He's thinking of leaving the stream.
That little rant, I guarantee you, if I was stood in front of you, you would not be talking to me.
There he goes. There he goes. He's a little man with little fingers and little hands, and he's behind his keyboard, and he's huffing and puffing his chest. I'm going to, if I was standing in front of you, I would pulverize you. Well, you know what? Little man? Come. You underestimate all your opponents, it seems. But come, and let's see what happens. Mr. Big Talk. Big boy. Yeah? Yeah? We'll see what happens when we stand in front of one another. I'll fucking put you to sleep. I'll put you to sleep before you can even say, don't put me to sleep.
If I was stood in front of you, you'd be sitting, I'd be standing.
There you go. You'd be lying, sleeping, snoring.
Give me your address and we'll see. I'm coming to America.
You understand me?
Give me your address.
You get me, bro. You get me, bro. You'd be sitting, I'd be standing. That's right. Okay? Just get that one thing straight between you and me.
I don't need to get
that's right. I'd fuck you up.
That's all I want to tell you.
I would.
That's all I want to tell you.
Instead of going outside,
I'd make mincemeat out of you.
Bullshit, right? So therefore, what
okay, so yeah, he brings up personal stuff. You see, he's a coward. He's an absolute coward. Keyboard warrior. That's what he is. He's like a little teenager. Keyboard warrior, threatening. But you go ahead and you threaten behind that keyboard. And you know what? If you ever step out from behind that keyboard, you've got something waiting for you that will not be conducive to a healthy future for you. I just want to let you know. Okay? But you come. You'd give it a try. You give it your best shot. I want you to know what failure feels like again. Because you've known failure all your life. That's probably why you threaten. You threaten with empty threats. Vacuousness is your middle name. James Vacuous Henry.
Cultivate some big balls behind the screen, and then you talk to people on the internet the way they do, because in real life, I know that you don't have the balls to do that. So therefore, that's why you create this persona that you have on the internet. You might not like what I'm saying, but I don't give a fuck.
I don't care.
No, I don't give a fuck.
You might even be right. However, we both
There's
grew
no
up.
however.
There's no fucking however.
See? I say a however, and he butts in. Just remember, this is what I thought was going to be a conversation with a rational human being. But it's turned out to be a one-sided rant by a psychopath named James Henry.
However, we both grew up on the streets of Africa. So
I
don't
grew
give
up
me
in the
that.
streets and
Don't
you
fucking give.
Okay, so now he's going to go and deny that we grew up on the streets of Africa. That we both, that street fighting is what happens in Africa, okay? And he thinks that I've always, in my whole life, been ensconced, sitting here in my little hovel, never going out. Doesn't have a clue. He doesn't have a fucking clue.
I grew up on the streets and you didn't. Okay, you lived in a country that fucking pampered white people like you. So don't talk me about walking on the streets.
Listen,
now you're insulting
That's
me.
bollocks.
You're insulting me by calling me
Yeah,
white.
I'm insulting you.
Yeah, he calls
you.
what a piece of shit. He calls me white. How dare you? What an insult. I am not white. I am Ashkenazi. And get that right. Remember that next time.
That's right.
White,
I am.
I do not identify as white, and
You didn't identify as white, but you were fucking born a white man in a white country.
See, he is now he's defining me into existence as a white person, where that is not the way I define myself. And I don't identify as a white person, but he is making it quite clear that he is identifying me as a white person because he is a fucking bigot. He recognizes races and they trigger him.
So don't talk to me about fucking walking on the streets. I've been to South Africa during apartheid and after apartheid. I saw it with my own eyes.
Oh, so? You saw it with your own eyes, did you? You lived there for 20 years and you saw it with your own eyes. He goes there as a tourist. He sees fucking nothing about apartheid. If you really saw apartheid, you would never have gone back. You would have been an activist. You would have been an activist against apartheid. That's how bad it was. It was as bad for the blacks as Nazism was bad for the Jews in Germany. And we'll get to that because at the end of this conversation, I asked you a question which you ran away from, like a little sniveling coward that you are. But we'll get there.
So don't try and tell me that you got street cred because you grew up in Africa.
I do not identify as white right now, and I feel
you don't identify. It's not what you identify.
Yes,
it's how other people look at you. You piece of shit.
It's
See how he piece of shits me. Because he can't back up what he says, so he backs it up with an insult.
Absolutely how I identify. And
yeah, it's always about you.
I do not identify as white.
And you'll notice again, he never lets me finish that fucking sentence, which is why there's no point in talking to him. Justin's the same. He doesn't let you finish a sentence, and he comes back with some kind of a pejorative, like ha ha ha, I can't believe you said the stupidest thing in the world. Ha ha ha, I can't wait to watch this. Ha ha ha, I can't wait to criticize this on another show. Ha ha ha.
Right. So
yeah, and I don't identify as a Ninja Turtle. So what's your point?
I don't care what you identify as.
Why don't you identify as a Ninja Turtle? What have you got against Ninja Turtles? Have Ninja Turtles done anything to harm you? Huh? I am going to report you to the Ninja Turtle Association for disrespect of Ninja Turtles.
I mean, you look like a
yeah, but don't come and say we're both born in Africa on the streets. You are not from the streets, Sidney. You are not a violent man.
I'm not from the streets. You're not from the streets either. But just because you're not from the streets doesn't mean to say you don't know how to handle yourself in the streets. And doesn't mean to say that you've never been in the streets for any length of time. You're just making shit up as you go along. You're a narcissist, but you're worse. You're a psychopath.
Capable of being violent. Even stronger than that, you wouldn't survive a day on the streets. So don't give me that street cred bullshit.
You sound like a Christian.
You see, he lived on the streets, right? Because he's so underprivileged. He didn't have anything given to him on a silver platter when he was growing up. He's such a liar. He's such a liar.
Preaching now with your bullshit preaching. You wouldn't do this, you wouldn't do that, you don't know this, you never did that.
And you sound...
you know everything about me.
And you sound like a cunt, so what's your point? And you sound like a cunt, so what's your point?
About things that you've never...
Yeah, that. I sound like a cunt, so what's your point? Woo, that's deep. Intellect runs deep in this Dutchman.
Never done. You went to the army, never been there.
How'd you know that?
Because you talk shit all the time about everybody else. You might as well talk shit about yourself.
If you want to talk shit about me, I can help you talk shit about me. Because I know more bad things about me than you will ever know about me.
Oh, you're such a bad boy on the internet. Keyboard warrior. That's
yes, exactly.
Sidney, I'm willing to put $5,000.
Okay, now he's going to put money down to come and confront me. This is how childish this human being, and I use that term lightly, is.
On the table, that you and me stand in front of each other and let's see what happens.
Great.
You're a piece of shit, Sidney. You lie.
See, this piece of shit stuff. What does that even mean? It means that you have no vocabulary to cover up or to say anything else. That's what you resort to. Insults, pejoratives. That's it. That's all you got. You're a fake.
The only reason why you make yourself good is to make other people look bad. You can never...
You make yourself look bad. In fact, you've done that for the last 22 minutes.
Do something on your own steam.
So I'm doing something
What
good.
have you accomplished in your life? Were you living in your cabin by yourself and your children visit you once in a while because they feel sorry for you? Because daddy's too scared to go walk onto the...
You see? That's it. All insults and making up shit and telling lies, pejorative, tries to dehumanize me with his comments. He's a bad person. Stay far away from James Henry.
The street because he's got anxieties. Fuck that. You're a piece of shit.
You see, I've got anxieties, so I'm a piece of shit. This guy is a bigot, and again, he's a sociopath. He's got no empathy. He has no. He doesn't have a humanistic nerve in his body.
Yeah, I hurt your feelings, and now what? And now what?
Where do you get hurting my feelings from?
Yeah, because you're fucking keeping quiet.
You see, he's such an idiot. Silence means that he hurt my feelings.
That's why. I'll say these things to you all day, every day, Sidney. I'm not like the other people that are nice and understanding.
Oh no, you're a pussycat. You know what? You're a fake. You're a fake keyboard warrior. James Henry. Ha ha ha! You're a laughingstock.
And turn the other cheek. No, I'm not like that. I've never been like that, and I've never pretended to be like that.
Do you think Rebel's gonna?
You fucking pretend to be something.
Yeah, you see now I'm gonna bring up Rebel, the female that was in the show the night before, and he was full of sugar and syrup and treacle and cotton candy and anything sweet. You should have heard this man praising her and agreeing with her and ogling her. What a fake ass.
Something that you are not.
Do you think Rebel?
You pretend to be, oh, I'm a humanist. Then the way you talk about Christians, the way you talk about Muslims.
The way I talk about Christians, what?
Muslims?
The way I talk about Muslims, what? Tell me what I've said that is so anti-humanist. Nothing.
No, that's nice. No, that's very humanistic. The difference between you and me is
you can't criticize ideas, according to this guy, if you're a humanist. Okay, can't do that.
I can see the ideology of something, and I can separate it from the person. I might not agree with his ideology, right? But I can still see that's a decent human being.
Then, well, I don't believe you. I think you're a fucking liar. I think that you will go out of your way to assert your control and authority and feeling of you being better than everybody because of what you suffered, because of your past, because of your future, because you're this, because you're that. The only thing you've got to be proud of in your whole life, James Henry, is the time that you spent in a Moroccan jail for being a drug smuggler. That's it. That's your claim to fame in your whole life. A drug smuggler. Yay. Well done.
But you are 100%. Because I have that ideology, I support it all 100%. Everything that I support it.
What ideology is that?
Who the fuck are you to make that determination?
What ideology do you support 100%?
I heard you talking, the way you were talking, about Khalil. And the way that, Islam this and the women that and that. And who are you to defend women's honor? Who are you?
Who am I to defend women's honor? Did you hear that? I didn't even know he said that before. Fuck. Listen to that.
What ideology do you support 100%?
I heard you talking, the way you were talking, about Khalil. And the way that, Islam this and the women that and that. And who are you to defend women's honor?
Who am I to defend women's honor? Fuck you.
You.
What do you mean, who am I?
Who are you?
Why can't
who
I
are you
defend
to call out others about being
Why
misogynistic?
can't I defend a woman's honor?
When I'm talking about a woman lacking common sense, right? And then all of a sudden, because you...
Well, a woman lacking common sense is no different than a man lacking common sense. So why do you specifically pick on a woman? You're a misogynist. You're a hateful human being.
Lacks common sense, and she sleeps with men. Then you turn her into a slut. That tells me what you think about women, not what I think about women, but what you think about women.
You are being misogynistic right now.
Yeah.
No, and you are a fucking ignorant pig.
See, I call him out for being misogynistic, and I become an ignorant pig.
But
you're aggressively misogynistic.
Yes, he is.
I've never hit a woman in my life.
I've never hit a woman in my life. You see how he associates words? I never said he hit a woman. I said he's an aggressively misogynistic. I didn't say he aggressively goes out and attacks women. And being a misogynist doesn't mean to say or not attacking women doesn't mean to say you're not a misogynist. I mean, I can be a misogynist and never attack women. So what's your point? You don't think things out very, very well, James. You're not a smart cookie.
All the women that I've been with, including the one that I'm with today, I have never cheated on them.
Okay. See, now he goes on about all his virtues. Oh, I'm so virtuous. I never cheat, but I hate women, but I never cheat on them.
I have never beaten them.
I've never beaten them. He's proud of it. I've never no one even thinks about it, but he's thinking about it.
Never lied to them.
You are venomously misogynistic right now.
And you are clearly bipolar.
No. So I call him out venomously misogynistic, and now I become bipolar. James. I don't think I've laughed this much for a long time. Thank you.
Psychologically unstable. So what's your point?
I'm psychologically unstable as well. Woo!
Clearly.
You are. You know you are. That's why you come on here, because this is the only contact that you have.
Okay, so I'm on here because I'm psychologically unstable. Guess who I'm talking to? James. James, you're on here as well. And if I'm on here because I'm psychologically unstable, and you're on here because you want to talk to me, then I think that you're a little psychologically unstable yourself. Wouldn't that make sense? Just a little make sense? Stupid.
Because in real life, people know what a piece of shit that you are. Because at the end of
Piece
the day,
of shit again.
you're just like Darth Dawkins, but just with a different message.
Oh, I'm like Darth Dawkins with a different message. Okay. I'd love to hear the explanation for this one.
But the delivery is the same.
And
Pointing fingers.
And I'm such a bad person.
Attributing.
Okay.
You got nothing. You got no sympathy, Sidney. You're a piece of shit.
All right, and yeah, you're
Piece of shit, piece of shit, piece of shit.
hanging out around with a piece of shit.
That's where I say, okay, I'm a piece of shit and you're hanging around with me. What does that make you?
Enjoying insulting
What does it say?
you know what it is. When I first met you, I gave you the benefit
Exactly.
of the doubt.
What does it say about you?
What does it say about you?
When I first met you, I gave you the benefit of the doubt.
I don't need your benefit of the doubt because you're nothing.
I was upset the way you were treating Khalil a few days ago.
How do you?
And now the reason, and I'll tell you why he's defending Khalil. It's not because he likes Khalil any more than he likes anyone else, or even more than he likes me. I'll show you why he's protecting Khalil in just a minute or two.
And now I'm telling you, when I leave this stream, I will never return to it. I will never return to it.
But how do you think Rebel feels?
Because you know, all of the good discussions.
Tell me how you think. Tell me how you think Rebel feels.
Even more important, Rebel. How do you feel about James Henry right now?
Good discussions that happen on your channel are discussions where you don't take part.
How do you think Rebel feels about you right now?
I don't care.
Sure you do.
I don't.
See, he doesn't care. Yesterday with her, he was all oogie schmoogie, and all lovey-dovey, and all yes sir, no sir, I agree with you, ma'am. You're very smart. We're on the same level. Blah 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 blah. Now I don't care.
The Rebel has done nothing to me that would anger me, or to speak to her like how I'm speaking to you.
Well, why don't you, if you're never going to come back, why don't you say your
goodbyes,
whatever your outgoing statement's going to be?
Why don't you keep your advice?
So he's never coming back, and I asked him to say something, something as an exit message. Will he do that?
And you're directed
why
to
don't
yourself.
You say your outgoing
you
statement?
are not in a position to give anybody any advice about life when you're sitting alone in a home with your dog, and your daughter that visits you once in a while.
See, now he's becoming personal. I have a dog. Yes, I do have a dog. So I've got a dog. So now he is accusing me of having a dog. This is a man who's lost his mind.
The only thing that you have in this world.
That's all I got.
No wonder you hate God, Sidney.
Oh, now I hate God. An axiom of mine is there is no God. All gods are imaginary. So now all gods are imaginary translates to this idiot as I hate God. God doesn't exist. How can you hate something that doesn't exist? James.
You hate God because your life fucking sucks.
Oh, now for you,
that's got nothing to do with God. That's all on you.
I think you're projecting a little bit. So.
Yes.
No, I'm not projecting.
Oh, yes.
You're the one. You're the one who's very angry.
You blame God for what
Watch this.
You are responsible. Look, you made yourself the person that you are now. God had nothing to do with that.
Now you're embarrassing yourself, dude.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about me being embarrassed.
I'm not
worried about
don't act like you do.
Embarrassing yourself, and you've
invited. For who? I'm not embarrassing myself.
Dude, listen. You've said your piece, and you said you were going to leave and not come back. That would be great.
You see, that's you can kick me, you piece of chicken shit.
I'm not going to kick you. I want you to leave.
You fucking Zionist piece of trash.
There it is. There it is. I'm going to go back there. You're Zionist. That's where he's. That's how low. That's how unintelligent this man is. Listen to this.
Fool, I'm not embarrassing myself.
Dude, listen. You've said your piece, and you said you were going to leave and not come back. That would be great. He
did say he was going to leave, okay, and never come back. So say your piece, and now he's going to say his piece. Watch. Listen to what he says.
You see, that's you can kick me, you piece of chicken shit.
I'm not going to kick you. I want you to leave.
I told him I'm not going to kick him. I'm not that kind of a guy. generally.
You
fucking Zionist piece of trash. Because that's what you are. You are a Zionist. You are a Zionist. So you're a Zionist piece of trash, and that's why you hate Muslims.
Listen to that. Zionists hate Muslims. That's so funny.
And let me tell you something. It wasn't the Muslims that built those constant.
And this is why he supported Khalil earlier. That's why he was supportive, because of his anti-Jewish stance. Rabidly anti-Jewish, rabidly anti-Zionist. He doesn't even understand what it is. It's a secular organization. It's a secular movement. Yet he doesn't like it because it's not because it's got something to do with Israel, with Jews, and he hates the whole idea himself. Bigot.
Concentration camps. It wasn't the Muslims that gassed 6 million people.
So tell me something.
It wasn't the Muslims who gassed 6 million people? No, it wasn't. It was the Germans. Right? And the Dutch and the French. Who all helped. So I don't see what you've got to be proud of, James, at all.
I mean, then why didn't all the German citizens and all the Dutch citizens put on their
Okay, so he interrupted me there, but what I was trying to ask him, in the Second World War, why didn't all those... Now, it has been said that not all Germans are Nazis. In fact, most Germans were not Nazis. This is what I've heard. However, actions speak louder than words, and I do not recall a mass movement of Germans who were not Nazis putting on their yellow Star of David on their clothing in support of their Jewish brethren who were being oppressed by the Nazis. Where was that? Where was that in Germany? Where was that in the Netherlands? Nowhere. Nobody did it. Chicken shits, fucking cowards, every single one of you. Don't fucking come and tell me that you have a problem with me being a Zionist. Yeah. Keyboard warrior.
Hello. Go ahead. Why
Answer
didn't
for
they
me.
put on the yellow?
You go ask
Shut
them.
up. Let me finish.
Go on to
Yes.
a Dutch channel.
See?
Go on to a Dutch site
You see how he won't even let me pose the question?
and go ask them that.
Are you finished now? Are you finished? Can I at least put my question forward?
See?
Do you mind?
It's
Do you
going to be a
mind?
stupid question.
Oh, he's not going to, because it's going to be a stupid question. Oh my God. James, I'm glad you're not coming back, because, you've contributed all you can. You've left your legacy of idiocy behind you,
So,
Thank you very much.
I don't care if it's a stupid question. I'm going to finish
So
my
if you don't
question.
care it's stupid, then why would you ask?
So, in Germany
Now he's gonna
and
leave.
And in Holland during the war, why didn't all the people just wear yellow stars, like in solidarity with everybody else? Like they
Yes,
do today,
why?
Like they did in Poland. Solidarity. Everybody.
He does not have an answer for that. Nobody has an answer for that. That is what they should have done. That is what today people would expect them to do. Take a knee. Put on the yellow star.
Everybody sort of wears the colors of those that are being oppressed. Why didn't that happen in Germany, and why didn't that happen in Holland?
Another thing that this guy has done, James, he's accused me of doxing Darth Dawkins. James, listen to this.
Gary Milne, Jersey, Yeah, I mean, it just got out. I mean, it got out this year. Everything got out. Gary Milne from
New Jersey.
That's who he is. No, but tell me, I am the only one that knows Gary's full names, but I still want to know who figured it out. I mean, Gary doesn't share this with anyone but me. And I'm still amazed that it got out. But it didn't come from me. It did not come from me. Because I've known Gary for 9 years. I have never leaked out his address, even though I know him so well. I never leaked out his name, his address. His son knows me in real life. I know his son in real life. There's no way I would do this to Gary. But I mean, who did? I mean, it was Anstrike, right? To figure it out. I think so.
Yeah, Jack Angstrike. That's what I've heard.
Oh, I know how. Actually, I know what happened. Gary made a phone call to Tina, and he didn't block his house phone. And what happened, his full names appeared, a phone number, and his location appeared on her caller ID. That's what I remember. Oh, like for 8-9 years, I have never gave out his names or whatever. Never. It's just only me that knew. I mean, I was shocked that it came out, but I mean, I knew about Sidney Winston. I knew that Sidney Winston. The only person I go way back on here is Nephilim Free. Darth Dawkins and we go way back for 8 years. He is the only one that show his webcam to. I am the only woman that he allows to see on webcam. Nobody else gets to see him on webcam but me. Does he come in this circle? Does Gary come into this circle? Does Gary?
Gary is a knows his name.
No.
I know him.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I know him for 8-9 years. He knows my full names too. He knows who I am. Gary was the one. Gary and Sidney and Tina Gallus. Gary actually brought me onto Discord to join him. Gary brought me over to Discord to support him to join him over there, just to listen to him, talk.
You see, James? Who doxed Darth Dawkins but Darth Dawkins himself? In fact, Gary Milne doxed Darth Dawkins. So you better get your information up to date, my acquaintance. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, we can do a couple of things. I could proceed to introduce that lecture, that Yale lecture on what is it on? On the historicity of Jesus. We could do that. And I could also open up a room if anybody wants to come and have a chat about anything in such a manner so that so that nobody will be overspoken and everything will be respectful. There are limitations on who I need in here, or actually would allow in here. Certainly no preaching Christians. If you're a preaching Christian, you can fuck off. Because I'm not interested in you at all. If you've been on the show and you've been disrespectful, then I probably won't let you in either. Because I'm not interested in your narcissism anymore. Yesterday I had two children. One was J. Mike and one was Khalil. They came into my stream and they acted like little children. Again, when I'm talking, they're making fun and they're saying, "Oh, listen to this nonsense. I can't wait till we make fun of him on our live streams and blah, 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 blah." All right, go ahead and do it. But I am going to open up the live stream. I mean the room, I should say. Before I open up the room, though, I am going to take a break. And when I get back, give me 5 minutes. When we get back, we will, what shall we do? When we get back, I'll open up the stream. I'm sorry, but I'm not ready for our. Oh, here we go. Give me 5 minutes. 5 minutes. How am I gonna do this? I'll show you how I'm gonna do this. 5 minutes goes there. Oops. Oh, that's right. And then if I do that. There we go. Back in a bit. I think that was the indication that our 5 minutes. Ooh, too loud. Our 5 minutes. Our 5 minutes is up. Why was that too loud? Sorry. All right. So the room is open. Open. And let me do this. Let me. What's that? I don't need that. I'll do that. Put on. Oh, there we go. Yes. Just give me a moment. Please give me a moment. And then I'm going to start to try and catch up with everything and everyone. But in the meantime, I am. That's fine. No, that's good. That's good. What about that one? No, that one can go over there. And that one can go over there. Okay, so here is the room. Like that. The room is open. I guess I better put the links and stuff, right? Okay, the room is open for respectful conversation. By respectful people. And this is the join. Too much background, sorry. Too much background. Too much background.
Is that better?
No. It's horrible.
Give me just a second, let me fix it.
All right. So I just want to remind everybody that the axioms of this hangout are all gods are imaginary and human evolution is proven by science. There are no debates about that, all right? So don't even bring it up. It's not.
Is this any better?
Yeah, that sounds a little bit better.
Okay, what's going on, Sidney?
Oh, we're just having a chat. What's up?
I'm a long-time fan. Been watching your stuff for a while now. I gotta say, your videos make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park.
Thank you. Why is that?
That's just because you come on here and you just point out the obvious. You know, it's hilarious.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Today you were talking about this James Henry guy. What's this fella all about?
Oh, he's got a huge chip on his shoulder about how his life has turned out, and and also his he doesn't like it when other people have achieved more than him or seem to have achieved more than him. He's a rabid misogynist. He hates women. He's very much a hypocrite. He'll say one thing and then tomorrow say the total opposite. So I was laughing at him because he's a joke. He's a clown.
Gotcha. I think I've seen him on there before. The other night, wasn't he on there with that?
Yes.
Would you call him like that Caligula guy?
His name is Kalilullah.
Okay, well.
I was calling him Caligula. I was calling him Caligula, but he didn't like that, and so I stopped.
Okay. Well, I mean, at least that's respectful. Like, yeah, I guess. I'm not even gonna try.
Exactly.
Like, I couldn't say that if I practiced for 20 years.
Yes. So who else do you watch?
I watched them. Atheist Experience with Matt Dillahunty.
Yeah.
Talk Heathen. You mentioned this guy J Mike yesterday. He's actually on that Talk Heathen show.
Yeah, he was on this show trying to humiliate me and make a fool of me, and I don't know. I didn't quite understand what he was teaming up with Kalilullah. So maybe they've got
Isn't Kalilullah Muslim?
Well, I played a 20-minute clip by Kalilullah at the very beginning of the stream, where he claims that without evidence, neither Islam, nor Christianity, nor Mormonism, nor any religion can be evidenced. Without evidence, it's all just faith, and faith is bullshit.
Did he do that recently?
Yeah, because he was talking about COVID.
Okay. Where'd you get that video? I'd like to see, because I'd like to see a Muslim talk about how his own belief doesn't prove anything.
I'll play the video again if you like.
Well, no, I'm actually curious to know when he posted that video. Because wasn't he like recently? Well, wasn't he an atheist before?
Yes, the video I posted is empathetic atheists. Empathetic atheists.
So he was an atheist when he said that, right?
Absolutely. But not only was he atheist, he was pointing out how Islam and Christianity and Mormonism, all of that stuff, is all based on faith, and without evidence, it's nothing.
And now he has faith in that.
Yes,
thing, right?
So that's the hypocrisy of this man.
What a fucking idiot, man.
No kidding.
Man, I got a deep fry short of a Happy Meal, if you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
I bet you're making these videos about him. He's probably madder than a legless Ethiopian watching a donut roll down the hill.
Oh, low blow. But you must be from the south, obviously, with your limericks or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I live in Walton, Kentucky. Been here all my life.
Ah, how do you survive not being caught up in Christianity in the south?
Well, I'm like, they tell me, they say, well, just look at the trees. The trees will tell you that God exists. And I'm like, I'm looking at the trees, and I'm not seeing what they're saying. I think it's just an excuse. Well, the next thing, look at my toilet, look at my turds. Do you know God exists for my turds in the toilet? I don't get it, man.
Well, the trees tell you that trees exist. I can tell you that I can confirm.
Well, I mean, trees. Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. And these people talking about well, you don't know that the trees exist because of solipsism or something like that. I don't.
Yes. That's what this Khalil guy does. As soon as he gets into trouble, he says, the problem of hard solipsism or something bullshitty like that.
I mean, isn't that? I mean, in his defense, isn't that his only thing that he could probably do at that point?
That he's got nothing. He's got nothing. Not even that.
Yeah, he's lost.
He's nothing.
He's lost. May the trees help him find his way.
Yeah, I mean, these are the kind of people who start, when they're totally beaten. It's like, how do you know that you exist? This is where they go.
Yeah. I mean, I know that I'm not a brain in a vat. I know that I'm
absolutely,
not that stuff. And Matt Dillahunty talks about this on the show. Like, Matt Dillahunty is amazing. Like, he destroys these people.
I don't know. When I first started listening to Matt Dillahunty, I distinctly remember him saying, "I don't know that I'm not a brain in the vat, but if you bring me evidence that I am a brain in the vat, okay. But right now, I don't think I am because there's no evidence." In other words, he wasn't discounting that he might be a brain in the vat. He was saying there's no evidence that I'm a brain in the vat, which I think is not. I don't think that's very. I don't think that's very honest.
Yeah, I get it. So what about this? I've seen Darth Dawkins too. I heard you talking about him earlier too.
Yeah, Darth Dawkins is he's a narcissist and like a psychopath. And I was talking about James Henry, who's exactly the same as Darth Dawkins, but newer to the scene.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen Darth Dawkins. He's called in. I think he was like Evolution False or something like that.
Yeah, he's got many names. He's a coward. He's a coward like all these other keyboard warriors.
Yeah, he likes to interrupt people a lot. I've seen that from some of his videos. He's too scared to let people talk.
James,
like I think I've gone through one of his videos. Like, it was like a 10-minute video. And he was having a conversation with somebody, and he interrupted them, like, I think it was like 27 or 28 times before he finally muted them and then booted them from the chat or whatever, the group that they were in.
Yeah, that's the way he rolls. That's how he feels that he's a winner.
I'm glad you don't do that here. Like, you let people talk.
I do. And I expect other people to let me talk, but, you know, I've had a few experiences the last few days with J. Mike and his friends that show me that they're not honest.
Yeah. At least you guys can, like, agree on, like, Christianity. I mean, the guy's a Muslim. Obviously, he doesn't believe in Christianity.
Oh, you're talking about
that Caligula guy.
Khalil?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what he believes because, he believes three things. He's like a Trinitarian. He's a hard atheist. He's also a Muslim. And he also doesn't know whether his God is 100% true.
So what? He says he believes in God, but he doesn't know?
Yeah, he said his God is philosophically possible, but not necessarily logically possible.
I don't even know what that
exactly.
That's too many smart people words to me.
No, it just means gobbledygook. It means that he can't. He doesn't have 100% confidence. He's not 100% confident that his God does exist.
Okay. I mean, I guess.
Which is kind of an admittance that strong atheism is a position that holds steady. And I was trying to find out from him how can you possibly go from strong atheism to I believe in Allah, and all he could say was, I did this and I did that and the other, and then I did an internal critique, and then I came out with the answer. So that's not very honest.
Well, what's an internal critique?
I have no idea what internal critique is.
Internal critique to me sounds like you're like gonna judge people like by what they say. I guess like.
Well, no. This is how
beliefs aside. Just look at what they believe.
This
right?
This is how he came to be a Muslim. He from a strong atheist. He took all the stories. Yeah.
If he's in the chat listening, I think that's how they say it. They say like salami bacon or some shit. I don't know.
Oh, who knows what they say? They say well when
salami
they get
bacon,
when they
Aloha snack bar.
Yeah, when they get money, they go all sorts of loopy. But
Alham Caligula.
But he went from a strong atheist to a Muslim.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. Because once you're a strong atheist, you can't slip out of that.
You never leave, right?
Yeah.
Like once you're a strong atheist, you do not ever leave. Like you are stuck in that position.
Yes.
Totally, yeah.
So I that's why I don't believe him. I don't believe he was ever an atheist.
Oh, okay.
And that's
but isn't that what the Christians say when like they leave like their faith or whatever?
Well, this guy was a Christian.
Oh, he was a Christian too. So he's an atheist, a Christian, and a Muslim.
And a Muslim, yes.
Is he also a chipmunk?
No, because I've seen him.
What if he has faith that he's a chipmunk?
No. As a human being, he's a regularly nice guy.
I'll tell you what, this guy's whole makeup is making me feel more frustrated than the one-legged cat trying to bury turds on a frozen pond.
Oh my God! But the thing is, he have you seen the costume he wears?
What like the? What are you talking about? They wear like man dresses or something like that.
Well, what he's done is he wears the man hat, the man skull thing, the skull hugger. Like he shaves his head and wears a skull hugger.
Oh, that undersized beanie looking thing.
Oversized beanie looking thing.
No, I said undersized because it looks like it's too small. It like don't cover his ears.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, it's it covers his head. Yeah, maybe it doesn't cover his ears. I never checked. But then he also shaves or combs or cuts his beard in a particular way that conforms with a look that he's trying to
kind of like this.
Kind of. Oh, there you go. Yes.
Hey, what's going on, man?
You're crazy.
I thought you said you weren't going to let me in the room.
I wasn't.
Oh man, you're not much of a skeptic there, Sidney.
You're not much. You're not much of a Muslim. Okay.
Nice talking to you, Sidney. Thank you for letting me embarrass you for a third time.
Anytime, buddy. So that was Khalil, and he thought he embarrassed me, but he really came across as an atheist, and you can't argue with that. He came across as from Kentucky. No, good job there, good job, Justin. Nice. It didn't prove anything other than you can put on a good fake. But then you're faking yourself as an atheist while being a Muslim, and finding it hilarious. Yet at the same time, when I played your 20-minute speech where you're railing against faith, you didn't find that very funny. But good one. Good on you. I'll be a good sport about it. Yes, be a good sport about it. Oh, where's my Where is my road? Yeah, you suck. Of course I got bamboozled, James Henry. What do you think? He did a good job. He didn't prove anything. He didn't prove Muslim. He just proved that he's from the South. He can be from the South, and he can talk like and come up with these dude, in a room. I'm as nervous as a cat, as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Har 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 har. That's all he can do, which is fine. He's funny. I'm from the South. Arr, 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 arr. But what I cannot do is seem to find my camera. And I know you want to see my camera. Oh, there it is. I found my camera. James, oh, look at them in the chat. They're going on about how they achieved such a huge victory. Okay, funny. Okay, very funny. Bottom. So, to show you, there we go. To show you what we're dealing with, I'm going to run a 20-minute talk by a rationalist, somebody who knows what he's talking about, and he's going to explain how ridiculous it is to count on faith over empiricism. He makes a great point, and I'd like to share with you his talk.
Hey, what's going on, my fellow atheists and atheist-friendly people? It's been a while, actually, since I did my last episode. Had a lot going on. Had to go down for some training down in Arkansas for the job that I have. Got sick. This whole coronavirus thing that's been sparking up. It's been taking care of a lot of stuff. So sorry I haven't made an episode in a while, but I'm ready to get back at it.
Okay, I guess I was muted. Got to be once or twice during a broadcast that I'm muted, right? But I want to say that I agree with everything that Empathetic Atheist has to say about anything on this clip. Thanks, Bill. I know I found out later, as usual, that I'm muted. You can't have a Sidney Winston show without him being muted. Don't you know the rules around here? But anyway, back to Empathetic Atheist. He's going to explain to you why faith is a fucked up thing to rely on. Take it away, Empathetic Atheist.
Yeah, to touch on this whole coronavirus thing real quick, I don't really know how to take it. Is it serious? Is it not serious? Is this something that the media is just overplaying? Yeah, touch on this whole coronavirus. If you look at, the history.
You can't hear me, right?
There's a presidential election. There's some kind of virus or disease or something that's going on. I mean, also look at the reason why.
You can't hear me, right? Yes,
this is broken out. And I mean, I don't specifically have a reason at all. I'm not going to jump to any conspiracy theories or anything like that, but I mean, if you think about it, there was a bunch of protesting going on out in China, and all of a sudden this virus shows up, and the streets are clear.
I remember that. I remember all the in China when COVID started. You remember the videos of people of workers in their hazmat walking through the streets, spraying this thick white smoke around everywhere in China. Remember that? What were they spraying, and why didn't they spray it here? This whole COVID thing is... Shh. I'm not allowed to say the word, okay? The C word is not allowed to be said by me. Otherwise, it's a no-no. So, Empathetic Atheist, Go ahead and educate us, because you the man. You know it all.
Too many things to put together. Don't want to come up with any conclusions, because obviously I'm not an expert and I'm all about skepticism.
You're
all. I don't have any answers for you guys.
Did you hear that? Empathetic atheist is all about skepticism. Remember that. It's important to be about skepticism, actually.
Just stay safe, wash your hands, do the regular things that you need to do to
I agree with
make
that.
sure that this doesn't happen inside of your house, or at least try and help.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
So today we're going to be going over a big issue within the realms of talking to theists and talking to atheists, having these fruitful conversations.
Yeah, good idea.
And that is a 5-letter word called faith. So faith has a lot of different definitions for it. I mean, when you think of what is faith, it could mean so many different things. People use it in so many different ways within their life, whether you're religious or not. And I'm actually going to dive into a little bit about what each of these mean, how we can use them, the issues with some of these definitions, and what I believe faith is, my definition and my take on faith.
Yes.
And ways that you can try and tear down an argument once you've already brought it down to that, you have to take it by faith measure. Either at the very beginning or towards the end of the argument. A lot of times you'll get, well, you just have to take it on faith, or it all starts with faith. I find that as a huge problem. And we're going to be going into why that's a problem. So first thing we need to do whenever we're talking to somebody that boils down to faith, we need to ask them what they mean by faith. How do they define faith? There's one where there's not really too much confusion when you're talking about it, and it's, what's your faith? Are you the Christian faith? Or are you the Muslim faith? Everybody's pretty much on the same page when it comes to that. They don't have to, explain why they think they're the Christian faith or the Mormon faith. I mean, that's used as a belief, and that's what actually in the dictionary it says. It says there's a couple different definitions for it, but the first definition is a belief. That's what it boils down to, is a belief in the dictionary.
Yes.
Which I'm not going to argue with. If you say that you are part of the Christian faith, I understand what you mean. I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, but that's not the only way that we use faith. So we can push that one to the side, saying, "Hey, we already gotten that one pretty notched up when it comes to understanding what people mean when they say they have faith in that type of manner."
Right.
A lot of people will go to the second definition, having like trust and confidence in something. That's what they boil down to faith. A lot of times, most of the time, when it comes to my personal experience, I've gotten I have faith that this chair is going to hold me up. So I have an issue with that, because we're comparing a chair.
Exactly. It's this stupid analogy. I agree. Empathetic atheist. You're right. And I have a problem with that too.
They're holding you up to be equivalent with my God, who has all supernatural powers and can supervise my entire life and tell me what I can and can't eat and who I can and can't sleep with and in what position. It's not exactly a good comparison, if you will. So when it comes to that, I have an issue with trust and confidence, because if you're using faith to explain trust and confidence, why muddy the waters with adding the word faith to it?
Yeah.
If you have trust and confidence in something, just say you have trust and confidence. Don't add this extra word that's got all these umpteen different definitions for it, and try and
and don't do things like skirt around the laws of thought, especially the law of identity. The law of identity is quite clear that A equals A. So when we're talking about something like reality, A equals A. So reality equals reality. It doesn't equal anything else. This is the problem that empathetic atheist and I agree on. What others do, what people who believe in non-natural stuff, which is kind of illogical and irrational, but they tend to put that belief on the level of an axiom. So it's axiomatic that their supernatural dimension is the starting point. And it's not, obviously, as the empathetic atheist will carry on to hopefully explain.
Use it to bolster your religious beliefs. If I have trust and confidence in something, that means that I can be wrong. If you have faith in something, for example, a God belief, and you know that your God exists 100%, that means that your faith could not lead you down the wrong path.
You hear that? 100%. All right? So, let me explain to you, when you're a strong atheist, that the possibility of that God that the theist claims 100% exists, a strong atheist knows that 100% that God does not exist. There's a 0% chance, possibility, that a supernatural, non-natural explanation exists for anything. That's the difference. So, when you're a strong atheist, you are not easily swayed from, in fact, it's virtually impossible to go from strong atheist to anything. But it's possible to go from a strong theist to a somewhat weaker, more diluted theist, you know? It's like strong atheism is solid and steel, metal, titanium, solid. Whereas solid theism is made out of ice. Because you know how theism is, it's very cold and calculating and callous. But it melts away. So there's your difference. There's a great analogy on how theism and atheism are not the same, are not on the same level. Because atheism is solid and unbreakable, and theism is a theological chunk of ice that is destined to melt.
And I'll actually get into that a little bit later. When it comes to the trust and confidence part, just use trust and confidence. Don't say I have faith in that's equivalent to trust and confidence.
Exactly.
We already have words that mean certain things. Don't add this extra word that doesn't mean anything when it comes to comparing it to trust and confidence. Another definition of faith comes straight out of the Bible. And this is the one that I like to use because most of the people that I talk to say that the Bible is the true word of God. It's the authoritative word of God. Hebrews 11:1 states that faith, and this is two different parts in the same exact sentence. It states that faith is the substance of...
Pay careful attention to what empathetic atheist says here because it's important.
...things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So let's focus on that first one, the substance of things hoped for. So I have no problem with hope. I hope for a lot of things. Hope is basically a confidence level or a type of optimism for things panning out the way that you want them to be. I hope that I keep my job. You know, I hope that my kids stay healthy. That hope is perfectly fine. We're not boiling it down to an absolute certainty. By hoping something, I'm not saying that I know my kids are going to be fine. They may not be. They may get sick. They may, my son goes to a daycare all week long, and he may come home with some nasty bacteria that some other kids brought to the daycare. Exactly. I don't know, but I can...
You don't need God to answer that question, that's for sure. Or for that to make that happen, because nature does it all on its own. See? That works.
Always hope that they are healthy. So the substance of things hoped for. That could be taken so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So substance of things hoped for, I see as...
It makes no sense, right?
You know, the hope of hope. It doesn't make much sense to me.
No, it
and
doesn't.
A lot of times when I talk to believers, like I said, most of the time, since I'm living in...
See, empathetic atheist actually goes and talks to believers. I don't know why he wastes his time.
You know, America, the most...
He lives in America and he goes and talks to believers, which is, to me, a total waste of time, because what are you going to learn? That they believe in something that somebody else told them to believe in? Because you're never going to get one telling you that they believe in something that somebody else didn't tell them to believe in. Never. You'll never, ever come across that. In America, that is.
Predominant faith that I come across is Christianity. So when I say, what is faith? And they go to Hebrews 11:1, I got a series of questions that, that I need to ask them. Just to make sure that we have clarity. If we don't have clarity, then we're going to start talking past each other. And a lot of people think that interrupting is bad. Interrupting is rude. You shouldn't do that. In a lot of cases, it is rude. But in some cases, if you're trying to get down to understanding and being on the same page as the person that you're talking to, there's really no problem with interruption. If you're trying to have them define terms that they haven't defined yet, or if you're just trying to make sure...
So you can interrupt to get them to define terms that you don't understand what they are. Yes, I agree. You can't answer a question that you don't quite know 100% what the questioner is saying, because it could be ambiguous. It could be using words that could be contextually misconstrued. You need to know these things before you answer a question, right? And if you ask a question that gives you clarity on what the question actually is, so that you can answer it honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all wrong with that.
You're on the same page, so you guys can continue the conversation without being, 15 pages apart from each other. That is fine, because at the end of it, if you don't get clarity, then you're going to go right back to square one. And the conversation really means nothing at that point.
Right.
So back to Hebrews 11:1. Substance of things hoped for, that's one thing, and then the evidence of things not seen. So that means that if faith is the evidence, that means that they are apart from actual empirical evidence.
Right!
If I have evidence for something, I don't need faith. I can just produce the evidence.
But
so
if you have
how
faith
do I
and
define
no evidence...
Faith? I define faith like my favorite atheist.
I don't know who that is, you never said, but his favorite atheist defines faith like this.
I define faith as gullibility.
Gullibility. Done. Okay, I'd just like to do a summary of what we've done today. So we started off with pretty much this talk, and then we went to a criticism of, and then we exposed James Henry for his bigotry, his misogyny, his anti-Jewish, irrational perspective, and his anger, and all this other crap that he's got going. And then I got trolled by Khalil on the talk. I mean on the Google Meet. That was good. But I'll be a good sport about it, and I'll take that one. I thought you did very well as the truck driver from Kentucky. Nice. One Khalil, 1 Sidney Winston 0 when it comes to being trolled like that. But I'll take it on the chin and admit that it happened, and we'll just move on. That doesn't change the fact that James Henry, the keyboard warrior coward, has exposed himself to be an anti-Jewish, anti-Zionist, anti-freedom. Because if you're anti-Zionist, you're anti-freedom. Misogynistic, anti-women. Angry. Old. Man. You have lots of regrets, don't you, James Henry? I don't. I mean, I do, but I don't care. I move on. I don't carry that anger with me. Regrets can equal mistakes. But mistakes, when I was in elementary school, we did one of the subjects, which was woodworking, and the teacher, the woodworking teacher, explained to us something about mistakes. When you're doing woodworking and you're making something, and it turns out that what you did was wrong, and it turns out to be a big mess and a mistake, you know what you do with it? You put it in the metal container and you burn it. You burn your mistakes so that you don't have to remember them, and you learn from them. You burn it. You move on. You, James Henry, have not burned one mistake. It eats at you, eats at you, eats at you, and makes you very angry. And of course, it comes through in your hatred of, like, everything that's not you hate. In America, they call it you're a Republican. So yeah, you come to America, you'd fit right in with on the Trump train. They'll get your first class ticket on the Trump train. Okay, that was a break I took to break up the empathetic atheists. Actually, he's making a very good point. He's making some very good points. So, shall we carry on listening to him? Sure.
Define faith as believing in something that you have no good reason for, or good reason to believe. If I have faith in this chair, and you're going to use that as the trust and confidence, then that means that this chair cannot fall. This chair cannot break. I have trust and confidence in this chair due to evidence. And that evidence is me sitting down in this same chair multiple times in my past and it not falling over. Now, that doesn't mean that the next time I sit in it, it's not going to fall over. But it's shown me its durability. I have evidence, I have personal experiences, and every single personal experience that you ever have is evidence of some sort. It could be anecdotal evidence, but it is evidence of some sort. So every time I sit in this chair, it doesn't fall over. It feels sturdy. It's held me in here for hours upon hours at a time. I have evidence to provide a reasoning for having trust and confidence in this chair. Faith is not like that. If faith is the evidence of things not seen, if it's not seen, that's, in other words, in my interpretation, a lack of evidence. If you don't have any real evidence, let's chalk it up to faith and take it by faith. So what if I'm a Muslim and I say, I know that Allah exists and I take that on faith? Or if I'm a Mormon and I say Joseph Smith did what he did and everything in the Book of Mormon is correct, true, and authoritative, that means that I can take that on faith. And then that provides my absolute certainty and provides my reasoning for believing in what I believe. Well, they can't all three be right. Christianity, Islam, and Mormonism. They can't all be correct, but they can all be incorrect. Since they are monotheistic religions, if they all take it by faith, that means 2/3 of what I just mentioned.
Did you hear that? They can all be incorrect. I'm going to play that again. It was music to my ears.
Islam and...
I'm going to go back a bit. Excuse me.
And then that provides my absolute certainty and provides my reasoning for believing in what I believe. Well, they can't all three be right. Christianity, correct. Islam, and Mormonism. They can't all be correct.
Correct.
But they can all be incorrect.
And they can all be incorrect.
Since they are monotheistic religions, if they all take it by faith, that means 2/3 of what I just mentioned are incorrect. Now, does that seem like a reliable pathway to truth?
Nope.
It is not. If 2/3 can be wrong, if 1 out of 100 can be wrong,
correct,
it is not a reliable pathway to truth.
It is not a reliable pathway to truth.
That's the issue that I have with faith to begin with.
I have that as well. The same. I mean,
now, a lot of times people will say, "Oh,
hold on. You know, empathetic atheists and I, we on the same page, one on one, same. There's no difference."
Oh, well, you just take that on blind faith, and then the believer will say, "No. My faith is backed by evidence." Okay.
Exactly. A believer will say, "My faith is backed by evidence," but they'll never produce any other than what they have personally thought that they experienced, what they imagined.
Okay, cool. So you have a belief. That belief is bolstered by faith, and that faith is based by evidence. So in turn, you're saying your belief is based on evidence. So provide the evidence. We can throw faith out of here right now.
Yeah, provide the evidence. Empathetic atheist is correct. You can provide the evidence. You have to go on faith. Throw it out. 100%.
If faith is just the middleman tying the belief to the evidence, we don't need faith. Throw it out. That's the issue that I have. If you're using it as the evidence.
Yes, throw it out because it is internal, imaginary. It's in your mind. You got to understand that your faith is in your mind and nowhere else. See, I figure if I sound Hungarian, it'll come across as way more intelligent.
Of things not seen. Now, like I said before, anybody can use faith for anything. I could say I am superior to black people because I'm white.
This is a typical American thing, bringing up race. I hate the fact that people bring up a non-existent thing. Race doesn't exist. You got to understand that race has to be homogeneous. In other words, everybody has to be 100% something or 100% something else or 100% whatever in order for there to be defined races. But there isn't. Everything is mixed, mush, and there's no such thing as a white race. I do not accept the concept of a white race because there isn't a concept. I mean, there is a concept, but there isn't a white race. You can't go and tell me that a Greek and a Norwegian are white. Sorry. You just can't. So, I do not accept any argument that bases itself on race. Nothing. It should be another axiom that I add, but I'm not because it has nothing to do with lies and voodoo and supernatural. Oh my God, supernatural.
And I take that on faith. Now, just because I have faith in that, does that mean that I'm correct? No, it does not. Because now we need to get into different situations. Are we talking about how fast I am? If I was to get into a foot race, which I can guarantee you right now, I probably wouldn't win, depending on the person.
Okay, this is just blah 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 blah. Foot race, and physical stuff, and how strong I am, and blah 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 blah. Empirical and evidence, and this and that and the other. But he's on the right track. He's trying to say to you that without faith in your God, in your Creator, in your Giver of life, you have nothing, because you have no evidence. And he's emphasizing this, and I emphasize this as well, time and time again. You have no evidence without evidence. If you have faith and faith alone, you have no evidence. Okay?
If you look at the Olympics, a lot of our fastest runners, the fastest, I think his name's Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt, he is the fastest runner in the world. He's black.
He's black. You see? I mean, Americans, atheist or non-atheist, with their race, I just don't understand. It just is such a non-issue. In fact, you're making me feel ashamed not to proclaim what I am. And I'm going to stand up loud and proud and say that I am an atheist. I am a Canadian. And those two terms are synonymous.
If I was to say that I am the greatest human in the world, point blank, better than any other human, that is a positive claim that I would need to bring evidence for. But if I just say I take it on faith, then you can't do anything about it. But I'm also exhibiting how I am leaving reason, how I'm not using reason within this realm of my life. Because if I just take it on faith, that means that you can't falsify it because you don't know my faith. And it just gets into this big muddy rabbit hole that we go down to where it's unnecessary. It's unneeded. A lot of times I'll come across to where I've used this whole argument and I've brought it down to them being unreasonable. I've brought it down to,
I'd like to see what would happen if the empathetic atheist used his argument against a certain Muslim convert that I know. I'd love to see how they would go head to head. But we'll get into that later. See what happens. I'd like to take that conversation one step further, but I'm going to let him finish.
Having faith in anything, you could literally take faith on any proposition you could ever think of, and that doesn't mean that it's actually true. Then I get, well, you have faith too. No, you have faith too. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that you're saying that you're unreasonable, but I'm unreasonable too? That's an admittance that you have absolutely left reason. That's an admittance that your belief system or your foundation for your belief isn't holding itself up. It is just playing this childish game of, I'm bad, well, you're bad too. Or I'm unreasonable, and so are you. And let's just say we get to the bottom of it all, and they're not willing to part from faith.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. You can have faith in whatever you want to, but if it comes down to a God belief, that faith does not describe what kind of God you're providing this faith.
You listening?
For. You will have to presuppose whatever God that you currently believe in and presuppose his existence.
You have to presuppose the existence of whatever God you believe in. Okay? If you are a faith-based believer, you have to presuppose the existence of the God that you believe in. That does make sense.
To be able to say you have faith in this God. It's unreasonable. It doesn't lead you to truth. It's not a reliable pathway to finding out what's actually true. And if the person that you're talking to is not worried about that and they just want to have faith because they want to have faith, because they want to believe in what they want to believe in, a lot of people sometimes say that, you know, the conversation's over with. And a lot of times I will agree. The conversation is pretty much over with. Try and plant the seed, though. Try and at least get them thinking about it. Ask them, you know, would you like to have a conversation at a later date? And maybe revisit this. Psychologically speaking, for somebody to remember something, it takes about 3 times for you to say it, for them to actually latch onto it. So, try and...
All right. 3 times? Okay, so James Henry. I'm going to say this 3 times so that you can latch onto this, okay? Your intellect is low. Your intellect is low. Your intellect is low. Got it? 3 times, just like empathetic atheist suggested.
Plant that seed. Try and at least get them to think about it. You're not going to convert somebody on the first day or the first conversation. That's not how this works. This is a very long and drawn,
and he should know,
out process of them being indoctrinated into a belief, or spend a lot of time listening to somebody tell them how true these things really are. It wasn't an overnight thing that they started believing, which means that it's not going to be an overnight thing trying to deconvert. Maybe you're not trying to deconvert. Maybe you're just trying to have a good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get them to reason on the first day.
Absolutely.
So my only advice is to keep asking these questions.
All right. So if you want to speak rationally and logically to somebody, it's going to take some time, okay? You're not going to deconvert them from a faith-based way of thinking to an empirical-based way of thinking in one day, as empathetic atheist has mentioned. He is correct.
Just keep asking them and providing them these situations to where faith works against what they believe.
Yes, which is very easy to do, because anything that's malevolent and conflicts with your faith essentially it negates your faith. So reality is reality, and that's all there is. There is no outside of reality, okay? It is simple. Empathetic atheist has made his point very clear. There is nothing outside of reality, outside of empiricism, okay? It's a human construct if you think that it is. It's all imagination. All gods are imaginary.
And if they are using the same argument for their belief and the way that they're using faith, and you keep bringing up all these other situations to where other proclamations of faith are in contradiction with their own, they could eventually see the difference or the mistake that they're making. I hope this bit of information can help you out when it comes to having a conversation with somebody and they bring it down to faith. They bring the conversation or their belief to, you have to take it on faith. It happens a lot. It typically, almost every single time you have a conversation, boils down to faith at some point in time.
Yep.
Depending on how you...
Absolutely. We can agree on that, right? everyone, for sure.
Break the situation down. So I really hope this information was good for you guys. If you have any ways of doing it yourself that you've found successful,
yeah, let him know. Whatever. Just let him know. But faith is shit. Okay, so I say that, and empathetic atheist says that, and all atheists, most atheists say faith is shit. But you know what I'd like? Oh, hold on a sec. What am I looking for here? There we go. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see my image get bigger. That's the one thing I'd like to see. All right. So there. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see empathetic atheist and Khalil go head to head and have a debate. And I think personally that empathetic atheist's case is ironclad. It's closed. There's no hooks to get in for somebody like Khalil. So I got my money on empathetic atheist. If empathetic atheist and Khalil ever get together and have a debate, let me know if you'd like to see that. I should put a poll out there. Would you like to see empathetic? I'm gonna put a poll out there. What the fuck? Would you like to see a debate between empathetic atheist and Khalilullah? Yeah, poll's coming, buddies. Let me just check spelling. There we go. There we go. Where's that poll? Here it comes. Yeah, I see it. I see it. Right, I'm going to put the join stuff on again, okay? Join. The join. There you go. Okay, so to join, please abide by my axioms. If you don't want to join, I don't care. But I want you to abide by my axioms if you do join. And my axioms are as follows. All gods are imaginary. We do not debate this in this room. Period. Human evolution is proven by science. Again, we do not debate that in this room. Period. The room is open. Hello, Tyler.
Hey, Sidney. So you had you put the Sam Vaknin on there the other day. That was a good choice for the narcissistic supply.
Yeah.
He's one of the experts. So, yeah, what do you think of my theory?
Your theory?
That's Darth's prime motivation for going on the internet every day.
I think that he's a textbook. Sam Vaknin. Sam Vaknin describes Darth Dawkins when he's talking about anything or anyone.
Yeah, and he should know because Sam is a narcissist.
Yes, I have a queued up conversation where he explains, what he went through and why he is what he is, quite openly. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean he had to hit bottom like 3 times before he admitted to himself that's what he is.
Yeah.
But at least he admits it and he's working on it.
Yep. Well, I mean, he's the perfect person to learn from about this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear if you listen to what he has to say, study, the literature on the subject, and it's not hard to put 2 and 2 together.
Right. Did you listen to The Empathetic Atheist?
Yes.
Pretty. Yeah, it was very good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very compelling.
What he's saying about faith. I mean, it seems like everybody should know that, right? That it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
It's not a good. I mean, if it was a good pathway to truth, then it would have been proven long ago.
Yes.
I don't know. Seems like it's people prefer. I don't know. For some reason, they prefer to believe than to investigate and know.
Well, some people do it through having internal critiques, or what they call internal critiques, to make the decision, and they rely on that. But I have no idea how that works. Do you?
Not. I mean, I would put it something like, Einstein's thought experiments.
Yeah.
Through the sheer power of his mind, he was able to conceptualize relativity.
Correct.
But then he had to go out and prove it.
Yes, but you can't do an internal critique to figure out which God you believe in, or if you believe in God at all.
Well, there's no mechanism to even detect the supernatural.
Right.
So how are you going to prove or disprove an indescribable, undetectable thing?
Exactly. This is what I've heard as an argument for believing in God. They take all the evidence and everything they've heard and they learned and experienced, and then they do an internal critique, and then they make a decision. It's ludicrous. It's absurd.
Yeah, I agree.
So I was perusing the side chat for a second there, and there's a lot of hatred. I'm not the most popular fella, it looks like, on the internet.
Is that right?
Yep, seems like
Why
it.
not?
I don't know. I'm such a sweetie.
Well, I'm working as I'm talking.
You what?
But sorry about the noise. I'm working as I'm talking to you.
Oh.
don't know. I guess if you take a hard stance on anything, it doesn't seem to be popular either way. So,
well, yeah, I guess not.
I'm more interested in somebody's argument than, you know.
Well, what do you think of all these guys? All they do is insult. They throw pejoratives and insults and ad hominems, and that's what they stoop to when they got nothing of substance or anything rational, logical to add. And when I was doing this James Henry reaction, I noticed he was doing that a lot. He was throwing in a lot of just personal insults, whatever he could think of, anything that he thought would be a hurtful thing to say, or something that he could get some pleasure. It was like I was his what do you call his narcissistic supply.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. So James Henry is a malignant narcissist who needs to be fed with his daily supply.
Who is he? I don't think I know him.
He's some irrelevant guy who popped up on my show and tried to take over. He pretended he was an atheist, and then when the theist came on, he protected the theist, and then when I called him an atheist, he says he's not an atheist, and when I called him a theist, he says he's not a theist, so he doesn't know what the hell he is. He's a fake. Oh, okay. He's just a fake.
I don't know him.
Yeah, no, he's actually a psychopath, and I got sucked into having him on the show on consecutive days, but he willingly left the show yesterday. He says, "I'm leaving, and you'll never see me again." So, I said, well, goodbye. I hope you have a final statement to make. And he just left.
Okay.
So, keyboard warrior as usual.
What do you think about Kent Hovind going back to jail for abusing his wife?
Who? Kent Hovind? He went back to jail for... I think that he should be... I think he's where he should be.
I don't know if he's in jail yet, but he's supposed to either show up or... He's only supposed to serve 30 days, which I think is too little.
He should be in jail if he abused his wife. I can say that.
You haven't heard the recording of the body slam?
I have not,
no. You should check it out.
It's just more Christian cruelty. I don't want to, I just don't want to be part of it. Yuck. It's disgusting. Really, it sickens me, nauseates me when I see the Christians and what they do to other humans.
Yeah, I know it is nauseating. It's
and really
it's very hard to listen to, but it gives you an insight into
the less I have
who he is.
Absolutely, but then it doesn't surprise me because all these Christians are the same. They're all fake. They're all trying to hide some kind of or project some kind of a dark past, and very unsuccessfully because everything comes back to haunt them. And everything's out in the open, and they make fools of themselves, and it's. But they're Christians, and they get forgiven, and life goes on.
Well, you look at the comments, and of his latest stuff, and see how many people still support somebody like that. Even after everything he's done.
Yeah, but how could people support them before everything he's done? I mean, he's still, he's a money-grabbing, lying, cheating, deceiving scumbag. I mean, that is known by everybody.
Yeah. but not accepted by everybody.
No,
apparently.
but yeah. Well, look, if you're part of the Christian club, you dare not speak out against the leaders, otherwise you will be shunned, and your life won't be as wonderful as you thought it was in the Christian club.
Right.
So that's why the perpetrators, the leaders, can get away with their abuse and their corruption. It's a good gig if you can get it.
I guess. I don't know if I call it good, but it's steady.
Yeah, it's very well. It could be very lucrative if your name is Joel Osteen, or you rent a tent and preach the word and put on a good show. You know, it's like performance art, really.
Yeah. But did you see when the Hurricane Katrina came through, and then Osteen and his people, they refused to provide shelter to the people who were in dire need of some place to stay.
Yeah.
He has a huge mega church.
And what, did it get blown down?
No, it was just he didn't want to be bothered. During the.
Well, he was sheltering somewhere nice and warm.
Yeah. I mean, he was fine.
Yeah. Every man for himself in a tornado, in a hurricane.
Hurricane. Yeah. But it's not like they didn't have the space or whatever. They had people in a football stadium or something like that, in tents and so forth.
Well, no one died, I don't think, and no one got injured, I don't think, did they?
Oh, in the hurricane?
Yeah.
Yeah, people died.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I mean, a lot of people.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that people died. I just didn't hear about it.
I mean, a lot of people lost their homes. I mean, they lost everything.
Well, I mean,
and they just needed a place.
That happens in every hurricane, doesn't it?
Yeah. But they were just.
But why is it that everybody goes crazy about finding victims of hurricanes and giving them a place to stay, when on the streets of America there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people with nowhere to stay?
Oh yeah.
So explain me that.
Well, if you look at listen, like again to Sam Vaknin and a few other people, experts, talking about narcissistic personality disorders, and so you can apply it to societies as well. And,
correct.
Our society. It explains Hollywood. It explains, Washington D.C., the politicians.
Mm-hmm.
It explains so much, and we're in a time when these traits, these destructive, nasty traits, are seen as admirable when they're cheered on.
So, in other words, communities can become psychopathic. So, Hollywood itself is psychopathic.
Yes, that's one of the things that's being talked about.
That's what Sam Vaknin proposes. He argues. Yeah.
As well as politics.
Now, what he argues is that there are psychopaths, okay, but let's say they let's say there's 3.5% of people are psychopaths. Let's just say that. But right now, let's say they spread out over such a large area that they don't really stand out. But once society becomes full of psychopaths, then everything becomes different, and they all stand out, and it becomes probably untenable. Can you imagine if everybody was a psychopath and you had to live?
Yeah.
You had to live with 5 million James Henrys.
Yeah. The psychopaths usually, they're different from narcissists in that they're more like lone wolves.
Exactly.
The narcissist needs people. He has to. That's why they get so angry when you disagree with them, or when you don't. They have some image of you, and then when you don't measure up to that image, they go psycho on you, right? They go crazy.
Yeah.
But psychopaths are, they're more self-sustained in that way.
What do they think? What if psychopaths think of themselves?
Well, I mean, I'm not an expert, but from what I know, they're very much, those narcissistic traits kind of come with being a psychopath. Of thinking, you're better than everybody. You're entitled.
Yeah.
You're better. But the psychopaths, I think they're easier to understand because they kind of want the same thing you want. They want money, they want fame, they want sex, they want recognition. It's the way they go about getting it. They have no qualms about, stealing, hurting others, or what have you.
Yeah.
But the narcissist, he may seem very similar, but they have to have that supply. That's
Absolutely.
essential. Without it, they're nothing.
Yeah.
So it helps. I mean, you can understand like somebody like Kent Hovind or Darth Dawkins or whoever.
I can understand their anger because they're trying to sell something that nobody wants, and
sometimes
it's got to be instill anger when you don't kind of get when you're that much of a narcissist. You're selling something that nobody wants, and then you're still not getting away. Whew, blood pressure rising.
Yeah, well, that's called a collapsed narcissist. They desperately need or try for that supply, but they're unsuccessful.
Well, do you think Darth Dawkins is going that way, considering that he's not getting any atheist narcissistic supply at Clubhouse anymore? He's gone from Discord where he got a lot, and now he's not getting anyway. Getting any.
Maybe. I mean, the best way to deal with a person like that is to ghost them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cut them out.
Yeah.
No contact. Have nothing to do with them.
Cut off immediately. In all ways.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And permanently.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the only way to really deal with them. But that's likely not going to happen. So.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a couple of rooms where, he or one of his people, they'll just show up in a room.
Yeah.
And then piss you off, and then now you people have to deal with them.
Well, you got to figure that everybody who comes into a room, if you don't know who they are, they're a troll. Like I got trolled earlier by Khalilullah.
Who was that? Who's that?
That's he's a Muslim. Yeah, and he came on pretending to be an atheist.
Okay.
Pretending to be an atheist, like Kentucky truck driver, atheist, whatever. He was actually pretty good. I must admit, he put it on a pretty. He trolled me real good. Let me say. But he's not the first one who has trolled me. I get trolled quite a bit, but then on the other hand, I dish it out, so I might as well be able to take it.
Well, if you're going to be on the internet, yeah, that's something you have to deal with.
Yeah, you go with it. It's like the club. You know, when you're at the club and everybody joshes with everybody else, and someone falls off the chair, ha ha ha. But it's no big deal afterwards. Everything has its moment, but everybody moves on after that. But then you've got narcissists who can't move on. Narcissists like James Henry, who I showcased today to show what a mean, angry person he is.
I'll have to check it out.
Well, he's in the side chat if you want to have a chat to him. He's a very angry person. But you're working, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, you can hear the noise. Sorry.
No, I can hear you sorting out your pencils.
I wish. Anyway, I don't know. I thought it was interesting seeing the Sam Bagnan's view, putting it all together, and then you can see how
how it fits, everything fits into Darth Dawkins, exactly. Yeah, that's what struck me when I started. I've been watching Sam for quite a while now, but first of all, I thought he was talking about me, and he was. So I took care of things, right? I sort of left my denial and my shame and everything behind, and pretty much, yes, okay, I am this, I am that. I've got to realize it, and I've got to own it, and move on. So I do that. But I realize that these narcissists like James Henry and Darth Dawkins, they will not own. They will not take responsibility for their errors, for anything that they do. They always blame somebody else. And
that's when it gets to the point of a disorder. Like everybody has.
They do. They are suffering a disorder, but untreated.
Untreated, yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. So when I'm told that I'm a narcissist or whatever, yeah, okay, maybe, but I've undergone therapy, medication, the whole thing. I do know what makes me tick, and I don't deny it. So name calling just doesn't work.
Right. And there's a big difference between having traits or some personality traits that correspond, and then having it develop in a full-blown disorder. Usually, if it's a disorder, then your life, it's because your life is in shambles.
That too, but also their mind is in shambles. In fact, when you're a narcissist, when you're full-blown malignant narcissist, like someone like, say, James Henry, your intellect plummets to that of a kindergarten kid playing in the sandbox, and that doesn't sound very intelligent. And I believe, how do you deal with an impetuous kid in the sandbox, other than just ignore him until he shuts up? And that's what we're dealing with, unfortunately, in James Henry and company and Darth Dawkins.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know James Henry from Adam.
James Henry's kind of trying to be a Darth Dawkins. He's trying to be the new. I think he's trying to be the new progressive iteration of Darth Dawkins, in that he doesn't push his Jesus Christ beliefs. He tries to push an agnostic position. Again, it doesn't make sense at all.
No, I'll look at. Is there anything on YouTube? I'll look it up.
Nah, he's in the side chat. He's been on. He's just a troll, really. I mean, he tries to. Unfortunately, he's a narcissist like Darth Dawkins, and so I expose him as such. But you'll have to watch the beginning of the show, I guess, because he's on there. I do a reaction to him. And also, you can watch up the.
Okay.
You can, if you've got a moment later on, you scroll up all the chats, and you can see all the insults and rude things and name calling and all this kind of stuff that he tries to throw around like he's a big shot, but he's nothing.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it has to resort to name calling.
Yeah, that's what he's done. Yeah, so you know what? I ignore him.
Right. And as you know, that name calling, the devaluing a person is very much a narcissistic trait. That's,
oh, absolutely, 100%. They get pleasure out of that. It's more supply.
Yeah.
Supply.
Which is what I can't understand. You know, like, hurting somebody, but,
well, they hurt people so that they
in
can
a profound way.
they can feel better. It's like they don't have a nervous system, It's like they're a reptile, and they just and they just consume.
And most people would be surprised to see how many. Actually, a lot of CEOs of a lot of big companies, or are either narcissists or psychopaths.
They might have to be
because
in order to run these big companies.
Yeah. A lot of lawyers, they can destroy somebody, bring them down to tears in court,
Sure.
destroy their reputation, even if they know it's not true. They're just trying to win a case.
Well, they're representing the
And then-
client, yeah.
Yeah, and then go home and sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
Normal
well,
people cannot do that.
as long as they get paid, the exorbitant fee.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think it's more than the pay. They enjoy it.
Yeah.
They
Sure.
love it,
Sure.
which is disturbing enough in and of itself.
Your community needs emergency vehicles with a little bit more of a kind of a manly siren, I think.
Yeah. It's not too convincing, is it?
No, it's not.
Tell you to get out of the way. It's more like maybe I will, maybe I won't.
Please get out of the way. If you don't, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, I guess now that you bring it up, I can see your point.
Well, maybe you just live in a rural area, not a big city or something.
It's about 50,000 people. It's not
Yeah,
huge.
no, that's not huge. So your budget isn't that big. So in America, where you are, does your township or village or city or whatever have its own police force?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a city, and then there's a sheriff's county. The county has the sheriff's department, and then the city has its own police force.
All right.
But,
That sounds like there's how many different police forces are there in America? Police force departments.
well, I mean, like
Must be
Yeah, we have-
hundreds of thousands.
Yes. I mean, we have a state. We have state police.
Right.
Every city's going to have their own city. Then county.
Right.
Sheriff's department. Then you have federal levels. You have.
Do you have enough people? Do you have enough people in America? Do you have enough people in America to fill all these police jobs?
Actually, I see a lot of the departments are always looking. So I don't know. Maybe we don't. We have more prisoners than any other country, which is what you get when you have a privatized.
The United States is broken.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there are things that are very concerning, and a lot of people want to sweep it under the rug, which, it's. And my wife is from Venezuela, and I got to see personally how one man with some really bad ideas can bring a whole country to its knees. That was Hugo Chavez.
Correct.
And now this Maduro, that's he took over.
Right.
And I have in-laws that they can't, they have a hard time finding milk, bread.
Well, there used to be a whole international outcry about that, and then it just died away. What happened?
I don't know. That's the thing. People, they'll get onto a kick, and then they just don't. They don't care.
I know, but the catastrophe at the time that I thought was that Venezuelans were literally starving to death, and the situation was dire, and something had to be done now. And then landed up that some trucks tried to get through and some got burnt or whatever, and then it all faded away. And no big catastrophe, no big humanitarian crisis of starving people, it just... So what do you believe anymore?
I don't know. I don't know what to believe. And what you're talking about, for the people who don't know, you're talking about a country that has more oil than Saudi Arabia.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah. They have diamonds. They have minerals. They have very rich in resources.
Right.
And and people can't find basics to eat. There's no water. They turn on the water. Once a week or something like that.
Listen, we don't care what happens in North Korea to those poor people. Why should we care what happens in Venezuela? Where they have it way better than the ones in North Korea.
Have you seen the documentary where they go in and they had a doctors come in and perform cataract surgery on, it was like hundreds of people in just a couple of days. It was like a team. And they came in, and after they were done, all the North Koreans, they had the camera on them. And the first thing they did, they didn't thank the doctor. They went to the picture of the great leader and started thanking him.
That's what they've been trained. But that's what they've been trained to do. They have no choice but to do that.
Yeah. So if that's not religion, I don't know what is.
Of course, it's religion. It's deification. No, it's deification.
Yeah, of the great leader.
So they say that when you deify somebody, they don't defecate. But I dispute that. I say that King Jong-un, if he's still alive, takes a big dump every day.
Well, not according to them.
No, exactly.
And you see, most of the cataracts, by the way, that were due to malnutrition. Yes. These were young people. These were not old people.
Oh.
In most cases, it was due to malnutrition. And
it's going to get worse now, apparently. I understand. It's not good. It's not
Meanwhile,
good.
you know, the rest of the world sits by and watches.
Yep.
You know.
It's like I said, we've got a very short attention span as a world.
Yeah.
Do we really care is the question then.
Yeah.
Do we really, really care? Do
People
we really, really care?
think you know, Americans especially, they think we are invulnerable. That it can't. They don't realize how. Well, I don't know. Maybe people are starting to see how vulnerable we really are.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know. A lot of people are still, you know, we're number one. The Trump type supporters, you know, the people who raided the Capitol are patriots. They're not. They're not criminals. They're patriots.
Yeah, did you hear Darth Dawkins yesterday saying? I played a clip when he was saying it was not an insurrection, it was a protest.
Yeah.
That was funny.
A protest. Yeah.
It was a protest and not an insurrection. There's a big difference.
I know that when I was young, you know, the news was kind of the news.
Yeah.
But we didn't have. I mean, somebody pointed out if Richard Nixon had if he had Fox Network backing him up, he never would have resigned. You know, what we have now is with, you know, these basically it's opinion shows. It's not news.
News is opinion shows, exactly. Well, news is opinion networks.
And it wasn't like that years ago. You know, there's been a lot of changes, and not for the better. So.
Yeah. Do you think that basic cable contributes to the stupidity of the population? And what I mean by that, and I'll take an example of the basic cable that is available to me if I were to consume basic cable. Basic cable is a mixture of religious programs, 90s sitcom programs, and things like shopping. And yeah. I posit that in America, where most everybody who's sort of low income will have basic cable if they've got anything, they will be sitting there and fed all this religious programming because there's nothing else to watch, and I believe that they can be influenced that way. So the cable corporations, the TV cable providers, are essentially feeding a religious narrative through their basic cable setup. I think that's wrong.
Yeah, well, it's irrational belief in a lot of different areas. But
I know, but it's being. I mean, I house sat for, because I don't have TV, and I house sat for a friend a couple of weeks back, and she has the TV, so I went and I was looking for that, something to watch, and looking through all the channels and looking through all the options, and it literally was a mix of 90s sitcoms, of reruns, all sorts of faith-based programs, which I didn't look at any, and various things that I just wasn't interested in. That nothing was I interested in. And there were enough faith-based programs to choose one or two or three, and find the one that you like the best. And this is what I believe people at home do. People who've got nothing else to do, they sit at home, they watch Jesus programs for a glimpse of hope, and it's kind of their therapy, if I can use that word.
Well, yeah.
But it's also their brainwashing and their indoctrination.
Well, that's yeah, I think that's been going on a long time.
Ever since I remember basic cable, it's always had the free faith-based channels. I just don't understand that.
I know, wasn't it Woodrow Wilson who tried to get support for in the World War I, tried to get all the news medias to under his control. There used to be like, hundreds, thousands of little mom and pop type news outlets and so forth. And then by the 50s, I think, they were saying, it had been reduced to like 50. Outlets that control magazines, radio, TV,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And nowadays it's like 4. I don't know. I mean, because they were saying, oh, this is disturbing that 50 people get into a room and decide how you and I think. And now how many? I mean, I had a guy, he spoke once at Rotary. He was in the radio business.
Yeah.
And he said, give me a message and give me enough airtime, and it won't be long before my thoughts become your thoughts.
Exactly.
And I was like, wow, that's powerful. That's a powerful message he just gave.
Okay, so all gods are imaginary. And I have to repeat that over and over and over again. People will actually start to believe it.
Well,
let's try.
I guess if you have enough airtime, yeah.
Yeah, every single day I'm going to start off with all gods are imaginary, and every 15 minutes I'm going to give you 15 seconds of all gods are imaginary for, say, 8 hours a day of broadcast time. Eventually, if you watch me long enough, you'll actually begin to believe it. But it's a good thing, that is true.
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of things you learn by speaking to people in their fields.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of them. Another one was a guy who ran the hospital. And see, my wife, she's a medical doctor. She was telling me, in her country, in Venezuela, when she was a student and doing her residency, that if you try to give a test for somebody who didn't need that test, if you're going to do a CAT scan where an X-ray would do, I mean, you would get yelled at. You would be in a lot of trouble.
Okay.
And the guy who heads the hospital said, here, doctors will get in trouble if they don't request tests because that's how the hospital makes its money. So if you're not constantly telling people, you need to be tested for this, tested for that, and then giving them tests that even may be unnecessary.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what's wrong with having an annual blood and urine test? It tells them a lot.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like I said, giving a CAT scan where an X-ray would suffice.
Yeah,
things like that.
As a layman, I wouldn't know what the difference is.
But thousands of dollars, many thousands of dollars.
Oh, it's a cost thing. Okay, but is it the same? Is it the same picture?
No, a CAT scan is going to be far, far more in depth.
Yeah, but if it's for just a fracture or something, like
yeah, you don't need it. Yeah, an X-ray will do just fine.
Yeah, so it all depends, I guess.
But we have. It's just that what I'm trying to say. Well, you're in Canada. What I'm trying to say is the medical system here is broken.
Yeah,
it and people don't want to either admit it or they don't want to see it. I don't know. And I mean, there has to be a tipping point where it just becomes untenable to continue as we are.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what that point is. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know what that point is going to be.
Well, the thing is that there's also the pendulum theory. Like the pendulum always swings back on itself. So your tipping point theory is challenged by the pendulum theory. And I believe that the pendulum theory seems
I hope I'm wrong.
The pendulum theory seems to have been more consistent throughout my lifetime anyway.
Well, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you're right.
I am right. You'll see. We'll live to talk about it. Hopefully.
Okay.
But I didn't realize. I thought it was dinner time, but it's actually lunchtime. I've been up for so long. So let's see. I'm going to do a time check here. We've done 3 hours and 40 minutes of live stream. I think that's enough for one session, don't you think?
Yeah.
I do as well.
I don't have to make any more unnecessary noise on your live stream either.
Oh, that's all right. At least you're being productive. So I'm going to tell the room, everybody out there, that I am going to shut down the live stream portion of this. The room is still open. Anybody can join as usual. And I'll just leave it at that until I live stream again. Stay rational, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching.
See you later.
You don't have to go anyway.